Ayrton.
No.
No flying.
Get down.
Get down.
Already.
That's poorly. Boo boo. I've got to boo boo.
Elbow.
Ew, come on, ew. Wonder why we get
No, why?
Axel, get down. Lying.
Hang on, mate. Some come out's got to set his microphone up.
Ayrton.
Ayrton.
No.
No flying. Get down.
Red.
Clever boy. Well done. All the colours. Oh dear.
We're not doing these up, are you? So I'm not going to be able to do dinner in a minute, so I'm going to have Axel and Ayrton. I'm not going to be able to watch Axel and Ayrton.
What am I doing? Can you not get James to come down and sit with us? Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm going to get distracted because that's on his phone and Axel will be flying Ayrton around the bedroom.
There we go.
Has Gary confirmed for tonight?
Yeah. I'll race with it, but just put a few laps together, but it's sketchy as fuck. If I end up being a hazard, I'll just retire heads up admin.
Okay.
O'Reilly's losing force feedback.
I think I know what he means. I've had it before. So it's like a delayed force feedback
Right.
that you can get. So you turn, it feels dead light, and then all of a sudden you start putting a bit of resistance on, but you're already like halfway around the fucking corner.
Yeah. 15, and I'm sure McGowan's in, so McGowan makes a start, so we should have all 18. Come here, game here. Might be trying. Come on, mate, I'll get some wind up. Well, there's a bit, good boy. Oh, and again, good boy. And then we can sickle, haven't we, again? Babe! Wait. We brought 2 big boats up.
2, 3, 5.
Axel. Please. There. Sammy, can you just come up and tell me a second? Just some pots. Right, my timing screen up I do, but not on SimPlay. Right, so before we go live, let's remove Dan from Chrome. Top score 23.
Keep losing 2/10 in that section.
Is he gone to sleep?
No, he's awake, but I've just got to do a few bits. He's brought 2 bits to wind up and Vincent on him, so I've just popped him in there.
Stay awake, Mummy would really appreciate it.
Babe, what's he drinking here?
Water.
Warm water now.
So he won't drink his juice, but he'll drink water.
No, not water. Drink, boss. When I've got a warm drink.
No, well, he's alright if he wants to drink that. Are you drinking it?
That was from yesterday.
Drink it!
That was like yesterday. Yeah, okay to drink.
Yeah, it's a bit of juice, Jim. Delete.
Axel juice. Actual juice. Anyway, he's away. He's away. He's away. He's away. He's away.
Right, Mike, I've removed Dan Yako because waste of time.
Yeah, okay.
So Pro should have 28 drivers. Has he got my Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah, get off me. Love you too, dude.
If you have the Fanta, oh, okay. No,
It's a no flying. Get down. Just have to double check you hadn't picked him up there. So there's no... Is Carlos in? Nope. Yes.
It was. Yeah.
Viper, yeah. Gary, no. Friedman, no. So that's 2. Taker, yes. Tarlock, yes. Sylph, yes. Clouden, yep. O'Reilly, yeah. Harris, yep. Dan, yes. Matt Wright. Right, so Matt Wright, Friedman and Gary. Just pause that tablet, Jan, because I'm going to be going live in a minute. Oh, excuse me. Oh, there's Matt Wright. Come on, Dio. Or as Matt Wright used to call you, Eo. Nah, fuck Matt Wright. IRL shit. Look at it, 9/10 between the top 11. That's good. We could be in for a good night of racing, Kelly, with short drivers.
Excellent. That's tooled up with full fuel while the rest of us low fuel, but yeah.
Is it?
Torok's fastest lap is 40 odd litres of fuel.
So,
Kelly, so from second to second to ninth could be really close. Second to 11th could be really close.
Yeah. So we won't see much of Tardok tonight doing the Verstappen role.
The Lando Norris role.
Why am I struggling to get in the server? What's the password?
SimPlay 2, capital S, capital P.
Yeah, that's what I'm putting in. Ah, hang on. Might have been SimPlay 1 I was putting in. Yep, that'll be it. Oh my god, I come straight on board on Clouden who's oh my god, going around the cheetah, that's nuts.
What, sidewards?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's because you was loading in. Come on, overtake the track's optimum, you can go out now.
Right, let's go and have a slash before we get started.
Yeah, boy.
That was weird. That fucking lap thing, you know what's like 30 seconds behind that?
Yeah.
That updated faster than the actual positions on the game. I was looking like, it says I'm 6th on that, it says I'm 5th on the fucking game. What the fuck? And then it's just changed.
I had that last night with Monkey Boy and I couldn't get my head around it. Yo. GT3 result. So Davis, Ben, Matt White, Fraser O'Brien's not here. Somebody like Black. Beasley's pulled out, so Black. Skunky Viper, Newman and Hoffer and Schundelmeyer. Cow on here. Black. Gary Daz, Joe, Black. Mike O'Reilly, Cloud and take up Ledger. Freeman.
Oh,
Only just got back.
Course.
Sector 2, man, it's absolutely killing me at the minute. I don't know why.
Let's have a look, shall we? Let's go on board with old himself.
Well, what's your sector 2 time?
I'm losing 3/10 in sector 2.
Your best time's only
I'm
only a tenth slower.
Yeah, but I'm entering like relatively even on my split, but I'm leaving 3/10 down.
Okay. I mean, who's the 4 drivers we keep pinpointing each week, Kelly? It's Mike, Clouden, Skunky and Viper, innit? Who need to get the season started.
Oh yeah.
Freedom's
I'll
now.
say.
Oh, Mike, me and Dan decided last night that we're imposing late fees for the SimPlay racing drivers. Monkey Boy, it's £1 a minute. So if you're late when the lobby gets reset, it's £1 a minute. So Monkey Boy owed us £32 last night, and at the minute Gary's racked up £44.
Gary needs a mortgage.
I was going to say. Oh, that bloody dog of mine pinched my fucking slipper. Fucking dog.
Hey, look at you with a smile.
One cold foot again this week. Bloody hell.
Look at you with a smile.
So you into me a second?
Oh, he could have got closer, Mike. Oh, the grass.
I agree.
Oh.
I can do that with a lift, but it's fucking like borderline. I'm about to wet myself.
No water, mate.
Right, boys, I'm gonna go and jump in with
Best of luck,
Yeah,
Dan.
good luck, Dan.
Jermaine.
Yeah, good luck,
Have a
Dan.
good one, dude.
Yeah, catch you all later.
See you later.
Later.
Bye.
Cheerio, bye.
See this boy blooming.
Yeah.
Look at him. No, I wasn't showing you. Look at him, baby. He's the baby too. Don't matter, Jam, I've got one in here.
Fuck's sake. Really?
A little bit up on that curve.
Yeah. Turning in a bit too early. I'm slowing down too much, so I'm turning in a bit too early.
So what do we think to team late fees for lobbies for race nights? I like this.
It works for me because I'm pretty much bang on time.
You're bang on time, I'm bang on time, Dan's bang on time, so's Ben, so's Daz. So it only really affects
In fact,
Kieran.
You must have a couple of minutes tonight. You can't get in.
No, technically tonight I'm only commentator, so it doesn't count.
Oh, have you heard this, Kelly?
Mine counts for GT4, you see. But we're all normally on time. Daz and Ben's on time, so it's really just going to pocket, hurt the pockets of Monkey and Kieran and Gary.
Fuck it. Go for it. How fast can I get round this?
That was about 6 inches too much on the curve.
Got through it pretty quick. Cleanly. Look at Ben up in fourth. Aston strong tonight.
He's having a strong season, Ben.
He's certainly getting the hang of it now, isn't he?
No, it just goes to show, doesn't it? What was his biggest problem last year? Struggling with setups and the BSP lads wouldn't help him.
Yeah, he's a bit of guidance and he's fucking laughing at me.
Right, I'm going to jump in the comms box, boys. Best of luck. Have a good one, Mike. Dan, Daz, have a good one.
Doing my best.
No, tough.
Good luck, everyone. See you later.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm obviously going.
Right, just while we've got 2 minutes, Kelly, I'm just going to run to the toilet.
Okay.
Is this yours or mine?
That one's yours.
Right, sweet. He's in here with me for now, he's Ayrton. No, he's alright. Yeah, he's fine. If he says it, we'll just be practicing. He's going to sleep. Right, you can wake up. Come on, you. Mum don't want you to sleep out. You go and sit in there. There's Nelly. You got your Nelly. Good boy. You got Nelly. And you can come and listen to the most dynamic duo since Anton Deck.
Let's get ready, let's get ready, let's get ready to rumble.
It's basically all we need to do next, Kelly, is release a song.
Yeah. Job done.
Matt and Kelly's Saturday night takeaway. It's got a ring to it.
I could do that. Not a problem. Sounds like fun.
Right, let's go camera 2. Let's make sure we've got the onboard. Let's turn the volume of the game up. Let's go camera 2. Let's go on board with Tardock for the moment. Right,
Oh,
5,
I'm on board with Tardock.
4. Good evening, SimPlay Motorsport fans, and welcome back for another instalment of the Pro Series. It is Thursday night. What else would you be doing other than watching the SimPlay Motorsport channel for the amazing Pro Series? Sadly, there's only 18 competitors on the grid tonight, but looking at them times, does it look a little close. From second down to about 12th. But it's going to be an interesting race nonetheless. Kyle Army all week has provided us with some great, thrilling action. Some good, some bad, but either way, it's been drama and chaos, and that's what we love here at SimPlay Motorsport. I'm your host, Matthew Duffin, joined in the box, as always, sweet and sticky, back in your box. It's Kelly Davis with me tonight. Good evening, Kelly. Are we looking forward to this one? Thoughts on Kyle Army and thoughts on tonight?
Yes, looking forward to it. 18 drivers doesn't make any difference. There's going to be some great racing. That's what we've had all season. Tardock is looking the class of the field, half a second faster than everyone else, and he did that time with a lot of fuel on board as well. So maybe the Mustangs might have an advantage here tonight, like they've had all season. But great track, Kyle Army. There's a couple of places on this track that we'll get into that are very tricky. That being one of them, if you're still on board with Tardock.
Yep.
The Cheetah, the famous Cheetah, the second to last corner, which has got a nasty curb. There's lots of places on this track where it's very easy to lose it. It's going to be some great races tonight, Matt. As always.
As always, it's going to be absolutely thrilling, and it's going to be brilliant and interesting to watch, that is for sure. But it is Tardock, as Kelly said, who is currently leading the way. Now, but while we're on Tardock, Kelly, I'd like to point our attention to anybody who did catch a glimpse, and I know he caught a glimpse, of our social media expert, Dan Davis, who did the social media post of Tardock's race win last week. He posted his picture, except he didn't put Tardock of TWARDOCH. He put TWAT DOCH. Now, I won't repeat what the word is, but Tardock picked up on this, and Dan swiftly edited it so it didn't say that anymore. But it was worth a chuckle or two yesterday when he posted it all onto our Instagram page. But the championship standings make for interesting reading this season. It's Silth who actually leads away 36 points clear of Tardock. Hoopert's P3, he's 64 behind, with Dan Davis in P4, 84 points back. Ben Rook's P5, he's 105 off the championship lead from Overtaker in 6th at 110. Michael Harris is 116 points, been there or thereabouts this season, he's P7. Kieran O'Reilly is P8, he's been at the front but has also had some poor races that's put him down in 8th. Matt Wright, who's got the race win back at Spa, if you remember, he's down in 9th. Sky Sundelmeyer 10th, not here tonight, so we won't be able to see much of him out there on the circuit. Mike Matthews is P11, really needs to kickstart his season, as does Jamal Clouden in 12th. Patrick Legend not here tonight, he's under the weather, so Patrick, we hope you feel well soon, buddy. Skunky's 14th, another driver needs to kickstart that season. Tobias Hoffer P15, he's done well in the Bentley, I think 15th place in that Bentley. He always seemed to be around that place in the races. I think that's pretty much where Hoffer is. Viper's been 16th place, he another one, get that season kick-started. Darren Yeo in a fair position in 17th place, we'll see. Will Freeman in 18th, obviously new joiner, he'll be climbing the ranks after the drop scores have taken a bit more of an earlier effect for him because he didn't start the season, which means his drop scores count as his season goes on. McGowan 19th, Gary Leach 20th, Fraser O'Brien 21st, and it's Carlos 23rd, Ethan Coe 26th, Dennis Newman, Joe Bates, then it's Richie Michelle, Ethan Collin and Ellie Pocket, who is yet to score. Constructors Championship wise though, it is MSA Racing 153 points clear of Team Audio Sport, with Greasy Bandits Racing at 248 points behind MSA in 3rd. SimPlay Racing at 262 points behind in 4th. Team FBR, Old School Racers, Quantum Motorsport, Team SPR, Scuderia Tempesta, Effect Motorsport, and then Red Rum Racing. There is 791 points left up for grabs. There's 1,491 teams points up for grabs. Anything can happen, Kelly.
Yes, it can. Is it going to? Well, I guess stay tuned and find out, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Is in the Discord, and I think Dan has said it in interviews, the back half this season, Dan is looking more forward to than this first half. This marks a halfway point tonight of the championship. Is this where Dan can try and mount a comeback, do we think, to these Ford Mustang drivers? Because as we've said in previous weeks, Dan and O'Reilly have been the only two to really take the fight to the Ford drivers.
Absolutely. Although at the minute, as I said, Tardock is looking the absolute class of the field with a near half second clear of the rest of the field. And as I said, he did that on reasonably high fuel with 40 plus litres when he did that time. So, but hey, being quick over a one lap is one thing. Keeping race pace, that's another. But I've got my doubts that Dan and O'Reilly are going to be climbing all over the back of Tardock tonight. But as I said, we got reverse grid for a start, and that can throw up all kinds of interesting scenarios. So we've got that to see how that pans out. But I get that Dan and O'Reilly are going to have stronger tracks towards the end of the season, but I'm yet to see it. These MSA boys seem to be the class of the field this year.
Well, if we talk about the calendar, we can show it on screen now that we're at Kyle Army for week 6. We then head to our first of 2 night races, Imola. Could favour the Porsche over the Ford. Let's wait and see. Nürburgring. Dan's always gone well at the Nürburgring, so it'll be another one interesting one. See, the Red Bull Ring, I heavily feel, will be a Ford Mustang circuit. A lot of straights. Alton Park, that should be all Porsche and Honda, to be fair. Not a lot of straights. Bumpy circuit. A lot of corners around Alton Park. We know how good they are through the... Do you know what I mean? In Alton Park, we've always seen, you know, the Honda... not the quickest in a straight line kind of cars go well there. So Porsche and Honda should do well. Watkins Glen could throw up a bit of a mixed bag of a circuit. And Donington Park as well. Bar the SimPlay straight, which isn't hugely long. There's not a massively long straight at Donington. So again, could play into the hands of Dan's Porsche and O'Reilly's Honda. When we get to week 12, the championship could be done. So we'll have to wait and see what will happen. Just looking at the chat, already so much chatter going on. Good evening to Benny, who's currently on a houseboat in the river, listening to the engines roaring around the track. Good luck, he says to everybody. Evening to Rob Smith. They're both well. Sorry, Kevin, go on.
Yeah, Benny's actually in Australia
he is.
On that boat, yes, which is lovely. And I presume the weather's lovely down under.
I'd assume so, because he says, awake watching the sunrise. There, Gary Clawball, evening to you. Hopefully you're doing well. Obviously, you just recovered from some surgery on the arm. Audio Sport, one of our sponsors, are already in the chat as well. Monkey Boy's in there. PM Motorsport Trains is in there, as is Fury's Grandad and Chris. In the chat as well.
Evening
so
all.
Let's see what will happen. Get your comments in. We enjoy your comments. Any questions, get your questions in. We will try and answer them as we can throughout the evening. But it's going to be a great night, Kelly.
Absolutely, and we may not have the time, but I was going to say, ask us something random tonight, and we'll try and answer it. Between me and Matthew, we know everything. Okay, so if you want to know something, we're like Google, but with voices. So just ask us, and you know, if it's a question I can't answer, that'll be what Matt knows. So you know, ask us a random question tonight. As I said, we may not have time to answer them, but there we go. Let's hope so.
That's been the case of the season, hasn't it, Kelly? No time to answer the questions. We've came live a little earlier. The lobby got reset a little late, so we can actually go into a bit more of our Patreon pledges and everything. There's the Patreon picture on screen now. If you want to support the Patreon, it's £3 a month. That's Great British pounds, obviously. If you want to, whatever that converts into your currency, I'm not sure, but it's £3 Great British pounds a month. You get to reserve a driver number. It's one pasty. You get to reserve a preferred driver number. You get priority access to sign-ups and events, obviously apart from the charity event. You get a track suggestion towards future seasons, apart from next season because of something that's happening. Maybe in the side series is a track suggestion. Pre-season promo images, obviously that is if you ask for one from our social media expert Dan Davis, and an auto share to the social media links as well. And as we've just mentioned...
All that for £3.
All that for £3.
Wow.
And as we've just mentioned the charity event, for some reason the image isn't there anymore, but we do have the Nordschleife 24-hour coming up on the 3rd of May.
Yeah.
Sign-ups are out. Make sure you're a part of the Discord to get signed up, because you won't find it on SimGrid. It is hidden. So if you find us on SimGrid, make sure you head over and join our Discord to find the sign-ups on our sign-ups page for the charity event. 3rd and 4th of May, 24 hours for cancer research. Be a part of it, because it's going to be a blinder.
Absolutely, and if you want a challenge, the Nordschleifer is certainly that, and certainly on ACC, I still don't think I've completed a valid lap round there yet.
No, neither have
Not that I'm going to go and do the 24. I'll be here on some comms, but I can't commit to the whole 24 hours, so I won't be in the seat, but I'll be in the commentary box, that's for sure. Just very quickly, Rob Smith, what car should I buy? Toyota, Peugeot, Citroen, or Vauxhall? None of the above, Rob. Forget all of them. All rubbish.
No. Yeah.
All rubbish.
Monkey Boy answered with "Don't ask Matt, he will say a Honda." Monkey Boy, it's like you could read my mind, because I would have suggested the Honda Jazz.
Yes, because you are 85 years old, are you?
No.
At least go for a Civic and hang out with the boys.
Get a Type R, that's what you want. Paint it in orange and black. Yes, come on. Get Matt Neal down the side.
Looks like it's crashed through Halford's window. It's got so much crap hanging off it. Yeah, get one of them. Yeah, but none of those ones. They're all dull and they're all rubbish. Anyway,
we can take a look at a few track facts of Kyle Army tonight. It is a 2.814 mile circuit. That is 4.529 kilometres. 15 corners, 9 left-handers and 6 right-handers. Pole position is on the left-hand side. The ACC lap record is a 1:39.3. We're only 1.1 off that.
Yeah,
but again, let's not forget, the lap records could be done in like a hot lap scenario. Great weather, good temperatures, tyres in the right pressure.
Everything right.
Most successful drive around this circuit is You Like the Ripper with, and I can tell you what he's got, it is pretty impressive, 3 poles, 4 wins. Most successful active driver, Dan Davis, 2 poles and 3 wins. So could surpass Ripper tonight with 2 wins and a pole position. You never know. Let's wait and see. But drivers on the grid tonight that are successful around this Kyle Army circuit, Gary 131's got a pole and a win. Dan's on there. Ben took a win in GT4s the other day. McGowan's got a pole on there from last season, I do believe it is. Overtaker's had a race win.
My only claim to fame is I put a lovely move on Sutty Apex at the top of the hill here in a race. That's my only claim to fame round here.
I'd say claim to fame, and I don't want to burst your bubble.
Hey, come on! He was the master of the Sutty Sender.
Yeah, that was back on Project Cars 2.
Yeah, that was in a different world, in a different life, in a temporal different dimension to where we are now. But he was the boy back then.
He was the boy. He was a boy. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
A boy, big drinker apparently. Not that we've witnessed it.
Apparently not.
Big drinker apparently.
I've been in a bar with him. Apparently not.
Let's get the driver who you think's going to win race 1. Pole up, and then we will wait for them to get underway. Dan Davis has missed the start.
Really?
Well, he's in the pits.
Wow.
According to my screen, it says he's in the pit lane. So Dan Davis has missed the start here of this race. Just looking
like him.
Well, I'm just looking on the Discord. Nothing there, and nothing in chat. So not sure what has happened here. Jacob Bleckensop here. Laguna Seca, Bluey 46 M3. Yep, evening to Paul Williams in the chat as well. And while we are on the formation lap, let's as always bring our fantastic grid order graphic up and go through the grid order. Obviously, it will change on that final couple of drivers because Dan Davis isn't there, but it's Carlos who leads the way from Gary Leach on the front row of the grid. Row 2 will be that of Will Friedman and Darren Yeo. Team SPR taking up 2 of the front 2 spots. Then row 3 will be David Viper and Skunky. Row 4 will be that of Jamal Clouden and Mike Matthews, and they're 4 drivers that we want to keep our eyes on tonight. Can they get that season started in the right fashion? Row 5 is Matt Wright and Kieran O'Reilly. O'Reilly suffering with force feedback problems tonight, so we'll keep our eyes on him. Michael Harris and Overtaker 11th and 12th, and then it should be the Audio Sport lockout of 13th and 14th, Ben Ruck and Dan Davis, but it will now be Ben Ruck and Ben Hoopert. Then it'll be Sylph and Tardok, and Dan Davis will go from the back. We've also lost a driver.
Who have we lost?
McGowan, who I remember why we've lost him. Couldn't take part in race 1.
Okay.
So he was in for the practice. Couldn't take
Did he
part
get
in
a note
race
from his
1.
mum?
Not sure. I think he's got to go and pick wife up from work or something, and something
God.
like that. So
real world problems.
real world problems. Yeah, I'd have made a walk.
Yeah. I wouldn't have even responded to her.
Yeah. Do you know what night it is?
Yeah. Do you not know what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Either way, get your votes in the chat. We've got on the poll, we've got Will Friedman, Carlos, Gary Leach. If you think it will be another driver, comment who you have voted for if you have pressed other. That way me and Kelly can know who you're Team Gary, I'm Team Will.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
I'd love to put my, Gary in that GT4 recently has been on fire in the Mercedes GT4. Gary's looked really good. We said about it the other week. There was a comment made last season by a couple of drivers. The Lexus was overpowered. I don't think it is. Drivers and screwdrivers. And I'm not calling Gary a screwdriver, but Dan got a lot more out of this Lexus.
To be fair, Dan probably tried and didn't rock up 3 minutes before and just jump in and drive.
This is a fair point, yes.
And ask which way he pulls out the pit box, So did he turn left or right out of the garage? So that's usually a Gary Leach trick.
Do you want the best thing? 2:45 today. You all right, Bert? Yes, not bad, mate. How are you? Yeah, can you send me a setup? All right, okay.
Yeah. Did he know which track he was on?
Probably not, no. Either way, they've come around the final corner and we're going to get ready to start this race. Round 11 of the season. Halfway stage is the next one. And we are, for the first time this evening at SimPlay Motorsport. Long wait. We green and go though as we come under the bridge, and it's a good start from Will Friedman on that second row. Darren Yeo didn't get away particularly well because Will Friedman, look, already swarming over the front two. Gary Leach takes the lead by a nose as they turn into turn 1. Leach and Yeo and one of the other Ferraris have had a coming together. That slipped Yeo up into second place here, and it's a Team SPR 1-2 all of a sudden at the start line. So Yeo sometimes gets collected. Car 14. That is Ben Rook who's had a moment. He's just dropped down the order. The 135 of Matt Wright is also down the order. And Dan Davis there, well, his pit lane start, he's already gained a place or two over that of Matt Wright. So he's managed to miss the carnage. Darren Yeo then has now got Jamal Clouden on the back of him in this race. And it is a pretty good start from the Team SPR boys. I didn't see, though, Kelly, what happened at the start of that between Yeo and one of the Ferraris.
No, I didn't see either. I was on board with Tardock right at the back, who got beat up a little bit into turn 1. Then we saw Friedman all over the grass, but Tardock has had a reasonable start up behind O'Reilly and in 8th position at the moment, and looking to make a move down the inside. Can't quite squeeze it down there, but Tardock making up good positions from the start, but did get beaten up just a little bit.
That was Harris on the crash just in the background there. There you can see Ben Rook, and was it Viper and Daz who came together, because it's Viper who's down the order. Skunky still up in 6th place, but already Will Friedman looking on the back of Tardock, as Tardock, like you say, attacking O'Reilly. I feel like O'Reilly's a bit more on the back of Skunky at the moment though, but it is that Team SPR 1-2. Gary Leach from Darren Yeo, from Clouden, Carlos, Mike Matthews, then from Skunky, O'Reilly, Tardock, Will Friedman, Overtaker, then it is Hooper, Sylph, Harris, Viper, Ben Rook, Dan Davis and Matt Wright, who are a couple of seconds off the back of this train and already on the back foot in this race. But Gary Leach in that Lexus got himself away at the moment. He's got himself a bit of a gap. Clouden fastest up at the first part of this race, and here comes Tardock looking down the inside, takes a very tight line into turn 1 on O'Reilly. Will he make this stick? They stay side by side. O'Reilly will have that inside for the little second hand bend, and O'Reilly, bit of contact. Tardock on the grass, rejoins now, but O'Reilly will get through. Can Friedman hanging around the outside? Overtaker, did he just tap the back of Tardock? But they're seeming to go 3 wide. It's Friedman with Tardock and Overtaker. Friedman's got past both of them. Tardock being bullied, like you say, Kelly, and Overtaker taps him again.
Yes, indeed. I'm on board with Overtaker, and as you say, Tardock getting beaten up. Overtaker's going to get mugged by Hubert, I think, on the outside of him, and that was all a little bit carnage. I think the one who did well out of that was Friedman went up, O'Reilly stayed in position. So the MSA boys getting beaten around a little bit at the moment, and Overtaker getting beaten
Oh,
up
something's
as well.
happened to Darren Yeo, Kelly, because I've just looked at the track map. Darren Yeo is down in last. It will update as we go through the second timing screen, but Darren Yeo down in last place now. He's tumbled down. Carlos has got ahead of Clouden, so I don't know what's happened there, but Dan Davies, you can see in the background, getting closer to this as we're watching Sylph on the back of Overtaker coming in towards the Crocodile, and can't get through yet. Overtaker there definitely had a few nibbles at Tardak's Ford Mustang, and it was all a little argy-bargy from the 4 Mustang drivers, really. And like you say, Will Freeman really capitalised there. He can now press after that Honda of O'Reilly, who's still hunting down Skunky. But it's Gary Leach just coming under a bit of pressure from Carlos now in the other Ford Mustang. But Gary Leach, pretty good on defensive driving, and I'm sure he'll be well aware to what Carlos is going to do. I'm wondering if Clouden or Darren Yeo made any contact. I'm just looking at the front end of Clouden's car. Seems pretty clean to me, so I don't think they did. So Darren Yeo must have just had his own moment somewhere. As I say, Gary Amastro defending, just caught him on the gravel a little bit coming out of turn 4. And O'Reilly's now looking to the outside of Skunky in towards the long left-hander here.
Oh, Gary just struggling with keeping the balance of the car around that long right-hander. The car wiggling all over the place, very loose. Carlos having a kind of a sniff up the inside. You're not going to do it there, my friend. Well, not without a bit of an accident, that's for certain sure. You can do it up at the top of the hill here. Reference my brilliance on Sutty. Yeah. But Clouden is on the back of these two as well, so there's a fight for the lead here now. Oh, and
not sure what's happened. But Overtaker has just gone straight on at the top of the hill where you pulled that great move on Sutty Apex. I'm not sure if it's been mentioned. He's gone straight into the gravel trap there. Yeah. He's lost out now down behind Michael Harris. He's got Ben Rook, who's having a look round the outside in towards the Crocodile they come. And Ben can't do that, tucks back in behind. Just noting as well that Friedman has lost out to Tardok, and O'Reilly did get past Skunky while you was chatting about Gary there.
It's quite a fight for the... It's quite the fight for the lead now. It's 5 deep. I'm on board with Skunky at the moment, with O'Reilly, Mike Matthews, Clouden, Carlos, and Gary Leach, all very, very close. I think Gary's turning into the Truly train just now for a minute.
I think you're right, and you say it was a fight for P1. It's a fight to get into the pit lane as 5 of them dived in. I'm not sure what has happened to Darren Yeo. He's well off the back, down in 17th place. But here they come then, up towards Barbecue. The left-hander, Gary's very wide again, manages to keep it all together. He's going to have that inside line as they come in towards Sunset. But you can hang it around the outside of Sunset, in towards the clubhouse bend. Very easy to do so. Look at Carlos. This is where he's going to try it. It is easy to run wide over the curb. That could unsettle the car, but it's not. Look, because Gary Leach, can he come back at him through the clubhouse bend? Can't through there, and it's Carlos who now leads, and you feel that could be Carlos pulling away here. Lovely move through the corners, now down in towards the S's before you come up to leak up the hill where Kelly Davis pulled a fantastic move on Graham Sutcliffe many moons ago.
I did, yes. I did,
and we've now got SimPlay Racing fighting each other with Kieran O'Reilly looking to the outside of Mike Matthews in towards the coupe they come, and they're all sat behind Jamal Clouden and Gary Leach.
Absolutely. Again, I'm on board with Clouden at the moment, who's in very close company. Carlos starting to stretch his legs a little bit. Gained half a second in the last couple of corners, and is starting to pull away. I think Gary's still struggling with out-and-out pace on that car.
Well, O'Reilly's just got past Mike Matthews at the Crocodile for his troubles, and decides he's going to absolutely clatter the Cheetah and into the pit lane. He comes with Gary Leach for his troubles. Any other driver going to come into the pit lane? That's going to be the big question. Dan Davis stays out, as does Harris and Matt Wright. Darren Yeo was in the pits and is still in the pit lane, so he's now a lap down in this race. So an interesting one to see at the moment in this race, but it is Carlos from Clouden from Mike Matthews as well. Friedman goes for a late move up the inside of Mike Matthews, manages to get it stopped on the apex of the corner there. Will Friedman, a quality race driver, he's got such a good racecraft, and he's going to really test Mike Matthews, who is pretty strong around this circuit, one of his favourite circuits. He did lose the Pro Championship 3 seasons ago round here of his own accord, but he always seems to go well.
Yes, he does, and I jumped to mention that fact as well, but he did drop it and throw it all away round here, so I mean probably bittersweet for him, because as you say, he does go well round here. I seem to be stuck on Clouden's car. I don't be able to, for some reason my PlayStation is not letting me do anything else. There's worse places I could be, but so for a minute I'm taking everything in from Cloudon's, from sitting on Cloudon's dashboard at the moment. So,
you keep your eyes on that. We've dropped back down to Michael Harris and Matt Wright, 8th and 9th on the road at the minute. Dan Davis has actually set the fastest lap of the race, so not a bad bit of race pace from Dan. That clear air certainly helping him out. I'm just looking, obviously I'm not going to give anything away, but the fuel loads on board here make for some interesting reading, especially from certain drivers, but others have pitted at the moment, so that could be why I'm reading it wrong. But Dan Davis's lap time at the moment, just having a look then, is it's pretty. That's pretty impressive from Dan Davis. Only two of the drivers that's pretty close to Dan, as Harris bounces off of the Cheetah and into the pit lane he comes. Mike Matthews also into the pits.
Still out front, Carlos with a second lead over Cloudon at the moment. As I said, I'm on board with Cloudon. These top 9 haven't pitted yet. Still got 6 minutes before they have to pit, or a 6-minute window left to pit. So you've still got plenty of time. They could do a lap, another lap, maybe 2 or 3. No, maybe not 3. That would be pushing it. But another next 2 laps, they've all got to come in, or they'll be serving a penalty, or which they don't want, obviously. No,
they don't want. Just to let you know, it is a 53-second pit stop for changing tyres. Oh, Mike Matthews was going so incredibly well, and has now got himself a... Now. He's got... Oh, no. I don't know. Kelly.
Did he do that on purpose, or what? Has he done that on purpose?
Just answer me this question. Is that a drive-through or a stop-go penalty that he's got?
Go.
All right, now explain what a stop-go is to me.
A stop-go penalty, Matthew, is a penalty where you stop in your pit box for 30 seconds, and then you go again and rejoin the track. Yes.
Now remind me of what you did in the practice. Yeah, remind me of what you did in the practice session.
The practice session we were racing. And I came into the pit lane and going too fast, and I got a stop-go penalty. I went round for another lap, and I drove through the pits and wondered why I hadn't cleared my penalty, because it took me half a lap or so to work out that it was a stop-go penalty. Now, just for those people at home who are listening, yes, I have done this before for many years.
He's not new.
It's a senior moment, I think. Do you know what I mean? Just a bit of a senior moment there.
Just to put it into some more context here, Kelly Davis has got 216 race starts at SimPlay Motorsport, so you would think that he knows how to stop goes. Either way, that kind of ruins Mike's night, because he came out behind Tordock and Hooper, but that is his race 1 done and in bed. Slow that one down, Mike. Geez, that was coming in a little quick again. Now, last night and the night before, undercut was strong, so this is something to keep our eyes on. Dan's getting close to the back of Overtaker here. Jamal's still pretty close to the back of Carlos, actually, within half seconds.
He's reeled him in the last half lap. Carlos having a couple of scruffy corners, getting up and all over the curb. So Cloudon just being patient and dragging him back in. Let's see if they both dive into the pits. If I was Cloudon, I'd be doing the opposite to what Carlos does. Although, as you said, the undercut is strong. I may be following him in. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I think
I can't even stop and go. So what do I know?
I think it proves the undercut strong. Tordock and Hooper wasn't really close to Mike, but jumped him in the pit lane. So it just kind of shows how strong they could. Gary Leach, by the way, since his pit stop, 14th place. So whatever has happened to Gary Leach, it has gone horribly wrong. And Cloudon do the opposite. He has done. Will Friedman stays out. Overtaker's going to stay out. Dan Davis comes into the pit lane, so I think that's a good call from Dan, because Dan's gaining on the back of Overtaker, and if you ask me for Dan Davis, I think that is a great call. Get in the pits and get that stop done, because I reckon Dan could jump Overtaker here in the pit lane, and I think Cloudon will jump Carlos, so I think this could happen in this one. Down to O'Reilly on the back of Sylph at the moment. That's 0.4 of a second. In fact, Gary Leach and Skunky's only 1/10 of a second separating them. Mike Matthews, by the way, now I don't know if Mike drove through the pit lane here, but on my screen he still has a stop-go penalty.
Yeah, on my screen he still has as well. As I said, I'm stuck for whatever reason. None of my buttons are working. I'm stuck on with Cloudon on his bonnet. He's still in the pits.
Can you press options and return to garage?
No, I can't. My options button isn't doing anything at all. No button is responding. So I'm stuck where I am. So for the next 7 minutes, I'm just going to ride it out with Clouden.
Fair enough.
You know, there could be worse places to be. As the two MSA boys go past me, and so does O'Reilly. As Clouden comes out behind those three. So
there you go. Look, undercut.
The undercut is powerful.
Undercut powerful around this circuit. Jumped has been Clouden from 3 cars. Well, O'Reilly wasn't far behind him, was he? He was in that mix of 5 behind Gary Leach, but the other 2 wasn't really near him. So just goes to show how strong that undercut. And look at Dan, by the way. Dan's jumped Ben and Skunky, but has got closer to Clouden as well. So maybe Clouden wouldn't have changed tyres, would he?
I obviously I don't know what he did. All I saw was the front of his bonnet. You don't get to see what's actually happening in the pit stop like you do if you were driving. But I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. He might have done. I wouldn't. Would you?
Not in the first race, no, because tyres can last an hour. I mean, it is beneficial to maybe change them in that race too for, having fresher rubber for the sake of losing 5 seconds. I'm just curious, Dan to Clouden was a bigger gap than that. They pitted on the same lap. And Dan's...
I wondered if Clouden was held up a little bit behind Carlos. It'll be interesting to see when Carlos comes out of the pits, which he's in now, where he ends up and who's close.
Yeah, they've all got to be. Mike's back in. And let's just we can confirm that Mike is stationary in the box. Will Friedman is about to jump that of Carlos in the pits, as might Overtaker. Tardok, I think he's going to lead this race, Kelly, if I'm not mistaken. Tardok will lead this race. There's Darren Yow. No, Tardok is in the lead.
Tardok, Carlos has been jumped by Clouden. And I can see up in front.
Look at that. Dan Davis is on the outside of Carlos and has jumped Overtaker. Undercut works.
Yeah. Dan having quite a comeback from his pit lane start. We still don't know why. We'll try and find out in the break why he started from the pit lane. But having a good comeback is Dan. Trying to get some points. Be pointsy with this one.
Will Friedman came out P3 from the pits, so is separating the Ford Mustangs. That is Darren Yow, who's currently sat 2 cars in front of Will Friedman. He's a lap down, although he has passed Mike Matthews, who's done a drive-through and a stop-go, or 2 stop-goes. We're not quite sure. We'll try and find out what happened to Mike there. But it is pretty close behind Clouden, isn't it? He's kind of got Dan just behind him. And behind that is Carlos and Overtaker, side by side, up towards Le Coupe. Overtaker trying to take that longer way around. They just nearly rub doors. Carlos gets the better run down the mine shaft. There you go. They've got Skunky and... they've got Viper and Ben Rook. Mike Matthews, who's a lap down, watching on as they come towards Crocodile. Overtaker's now going to have the inside line for Crocodile. They're coming towards it now. Carlos still trying to go around the outside line. Overtaker just leaves him enough room. Now they come towards Cheetah. Side by side through here will be brave. Overtaker clatters the curb. Carlos onto the gravel because he had to run wide. Ben's now going to try and get a run on Viper up the inside. It's all kicking off between these 4. Down in for 8th place this is on the road. And they're still side by side, and Overtaker now ahead of Carlos.
Well, that sounded like fun. I didn't see any of it, but it sounded absolutely fantastic. I'm still on board with Clouden. As I said, I'm stuck here. Oh, as O'Reilly has a bit of a moment and gets very loose. Who else is that? That's Darren Yow. Is he being lapped? Gets out of the way nicely. So Clouden was losing touch with these front guys a bit as Clouden gets a bit loose on the uphill left-hander. But O'Reilly got settled again and is starting to pull away, I believe. I just don't think Clouden's got the pace to stick with this top 5.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. As Ben Rook and Viper are going side by side through Sunset in towards the Clubhouse Bend then, and Ben's going to have that inside line in towards Clubhouse Bend. He comes, although round the outside comes Viper. Heck of a move that can be done at them 2 corners. Viper manages to hang on to that place. Overtaker and Carlos have just pulled away ever so slightly from these 2. We're now having a bit of a ding-dong. Mike Matthews tried to unlap himself in the process. He's got to be careful though, because Skunky's behind him, who's putting a lap on him. As there is Ian McGowan joining the lobby, ready for the second race of the evening then. It's been a cracker of a first race though, Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at where we were. What was your poll for who's going to win the race? Who's the closest one to winning that? 8th place?
Will Friedman. is the
Freeman,
closest
third
one.
place.
Yeah, he started
so
third. Carlos was 8th. Gary is now 15th. Nobody really said anything. Dan in the chat, just looking at the chat, Dan spun. Dan's down in 13th. So Dan spun all on his own. And again, says Chris in the chat. Mike says, joke whoever took out the marker board. 2 stop goes, said Mike. So there we go. Rob Smith said the speed limit board has been taken out on the way into the pits. Maybe he didn't see the line. Well, there we go. That will explain why Mike did that. But Dan, Kelly then, by Chris's comments, 2 more mistakes to add to a long list of mistakes that Dan has made himself this season.
Yeah, again, we say it weekly, don't we? He seems to be wringing the neck of that Porsche. He said by his own admission that the Porsche is extremely difficult to drive, and when the back end goes, it doesn't. You can't catch it like you can a lot of the other cars once it starts to go. And I mean, that might be a built-in characteristic of the Porsche, being that it is rear engine and proper rear engine. You know, hanging right over the back of the rear axle, and that could be a real-world characteristic of the well, it is a real world characteristic of a 911. You know, it's From one 911 to the other, Will Friedman's just lost out to Sylph with an absolutely sublime move in the S's. Lovely move from Sylph there in the S's. That was well worked. But it's Torlock from Hupert from Sylph. The 3 Ford Mustangs leading the way from Friedman from O'Reilly. Clouden still with O'Reilly, but O'Reilly's now on the back of Friedman as well. Yeah. Bit of a gap back to overtake her. Then it is Carlos who's now fending off that of Viper, who's trying to go around the outside of the Crocodile. Viper tries to maybe come and tuck back underneath, can't do so. We've got Darren Yeo and Mike Matthews having a fight. Leader starts the final lap of the race, but there's a fight for 8th place. Skunky waiting in the wings just further back. Then it's Matt Wright in 12th, Dan Davis 13th, Michael Harris 14th, Gary Leach, who was leading this race, is 15th and in no man's land. Then it's Darren Yeo, who's got Mike Matthews on his rear, keeping him company. Yes, indeed. It's still on for the last podium position. No, it's not for the 4th place, because the podium positions are all done with MSA. I feel it's going to be an MSA 1, 2, 3 by the looks of it. But still, I think Friedman just beginning to struggle a little bit. O'Reilly's reeling him in, but the back end of O'Reilly's car is very loose as well, going up over the gravel. Cloud in there not able to I mean, he's keeping pace with them, but he's not able to reel them in.
And I think with that, Kelly, he's losing tenths, not masses amount, but just tenths each sector or each lap, and that's where Cloudon's just not got the pace of these front runners. But certainly for O'Reilly, looking at a 4th place here would be great to see his season, considering that he's struggling with force feedback issues. Cracking start to his night, I'm sure, for him, and he will take that one as they come. But down the hill they come once again, in towards the Crocodile. It's Tordock who's going to take yet another race win. He took the last race win and fastest lap. He's going to take another race win and fastest lap. And what a start to his evening. Tordock is he's just a man on form at the moment.
Yeah, from the back of the grid to the front of the grid with 6 seconds. Who's going to win the next race, I wonder?
Well, Tordock will come across, take the fastest lap and the race win here at Kyalami. Hupert will come to take 2nd place. It's Tordock taking points away from Sylph in the championship. Will Friedman hangs on for 4th, O'Reilly 5th, Clouden 6th. Overtaker will be 7th. Carlos will hang in there for P8 ahead of Viper. Ben Rook will be Viper 9th, Ben Rook 10th, Skunky 11th. Matt Wright will be 12th. Darren Yeo finished ahead of Mike Matthews. Dan Davis 13th. Michael Harris 14th. And then we have a bit of a moment where we can have a pause as Gary Leach comes through these final couple of corners. But a lot of drivers there will be looking and thinking what they've got to do in this second race to maybe change what their fortunes, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And as it happens, as Clouden pits, I get all my controls back. So it's a Clouden thing. I blame him why I've been stuck on him all the way through. But yes, indeed. I mean, Tardock took that one comfortably, but certainly from 2nd down to 6 at least was very, very close. There's still some good racing to be had in the feature race today.
Yeah, 100% there is. We will be right back in a few moments' time, though, with the second race of the evening. Make sure you go and grab yourself some refreshments and join us back live in the booth for race 2 and round 12 of the season. And we are clear. Back
Just
in
saying
2
that
seconds. Go on, sorry.
All right, yeah, on. I was just going to say if you knew what happened to Dan, if
Not
it's
sure.
in the Discord or whatever. We'll work it out in a minute.
Team General. Mike's moaning at Daz. Dan put I am stupid. So I assume that is his fault then. I assume Dan, based on that, I assume Dan didn't ready up.
I'm going to message him, yeah.
Right, I'm just going to pop and make sure she's okay. Back in 2.
Yeah, okay.
Where's my dinner, babe? You what? Where is it? Oh, sorry, I thought you put it to the ball.
You don't mind using my ball, do you? Axel.
You there, Kelly? No. Michael, what did you do? Ah. What did Daz do? All right, yeah. I assume a ticket's going in. Not, I assume on an overtaker. Cut pit exit. You was right behind him, dude. Yeah, you was right behind him. Yeah. It's a tough one because I was braking and turning on that corner on Tuesday, but yeah, he's turned in a little early. I think we had this discussion about him. He did something similar to this last season, but fuck me, Smokey's put footage in. Yeah, I'd maybe go back and see. Check your pit exit, dude. Yeah, I know. It is what it is, though. You'll get there. You'll get there. Right, I'm going to see what happened to Dan, and then I'm going to jump back in with Kelly. Best of luck, race 2, dude. Did you forget to press drive? Fair enough. Evening, Ben. You alright? Yeah, not too bad, buddy. Well, what's up? Yeah, I saw Chris in the chat said you'd spun twice. Fair enough. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I'm not enjoying driving it, I'm just here and all places it'd be good, but it's not shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
What it is, I go another service and it's fucking great. I come in here and it's dog shit. I don't know why. I'm not blaming the server. I think it's just me. And then, you know, somehow I end up in the top 7 after I start from pit lane. I'm thinking, fuck me, how the fuck have I done that?
Everybody tripped up each other.
Exactly what Ben was saying. Oh, how did you do that? I just these were all with like 42, 43s.
Yep.
I'm at the back on my own doing 41s. So by the time people just started starting into the race, they just kept getting trap position.
Yep. Yeah.
Plus the bad one was already done. I just got distracted. Obviously, I'm not blaming Ben, it's not his fault, but he was asking about the GT4 incident. And my mind just zoned out.
Yeah, yeah.
Not think.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, you know, yeah, done the setup, blah, 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 and I'm just sitting there waiting for the race to start, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Just missed it. Fuck, I've got sauce in my beard.
It's fucking unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Right, session's coming to an end, so I'm going to jump back in with Kelly. Best of luck, boys. See you later, dude. So from what I can gather, Clouden hit Daz.
Right.
Pit board was taken out. Mike didn't see the line twice. Dan forgot to press drive.
Yeah.
And then didn't spin twice. One was more a moment than a spin. But after his first spin, he'd lost interest.
I think Dan's beginning to lose interest, in the season.
Yeah.
You know where the pit lane is, so don't you? You know where the pit lane marker is. If you practice, then you know where you don't need the pit boards, do you?
I'm not being funny, dude, but I'm not one for pushing it on pit entry in case of that.
No, I'm not. I very rarely get any penalties because I usually stop, as we found out a couple of seasons ago when Nova went flying into the back of me.
I mean, I think that one was more... Yeah, but I think that was, again, a combination of you being cautious pit entry and him thinking, I'm going to come steaming into the pits and try and, try be on the edge.
Yeah, so, I mean... I try not to rely on brake marker boards or anything, to be fair, because they can be all knocked down. You know, if you practice, you know where the board is.
And at the end of the day, why do you want to be on the edge, risking the chance of what Mike's had tonight?
Yeah.
When that's ruined Mike's race one.
Yeah. Just
the one stop go ruined his race one.
With all due respect, Matt, there's always something. There's always something. Oh, and all they go. I don't know what it is, from time to time my PlayStation just gets... I was frozen on Cloud, and there was nothing working at all, no buttons at all. And then as soon as he went to the pits after the race, it all came alive again.
Strange,
I mean, I'm working off my steering wheel again, but,
Yeah, still though.
Yeah.
Just turn your telly down a bit.
I will as soon as I find a remote. Oh, there it is.
Right. Dinner done.
Alright, is that better?
Yes, thank you. Dinner done. Let's put a quick poll out before we go back live.
I said to you I was kind of offered a position on Red Reef Radio.
Yeah.
And you'll be glad to hear that I'm turning it down. Huh. Because it might have had to, because SimPlay would have had to have sacrificed, I think. So I had to choose.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly.
It's all right, mate. You just appreciate that
I will.
my radio career would have, may have blossomed and, been Radio 2 by, next year. And I gave it all up for SimPlay.
You're a good lad, you are.
It was part of my decision process, actually. I haven't got enough time to commit to it, but,
Yeah, fair enough. Right.
But it was, yeah.
5, 4. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport, where we are here for the one and only qualifying of the evening for round 12 of the season. This officially marks that halfway stage of the season. Obviously, as we read the championship tables out, all results are preliminary in terms of drop scores and penalties that could be occurred. It is Sylph who still leads away. Gap's been cut to 25 points to Tardock, who put 59 behind. Dan Davis now 111 behind. Overtaker's gone above Ben Rook. O'Reilly's moved ahead of Harris. Jamal Clouden jumps into the top 10. Good race one result for Clouden. Matt Wright 11th. Mike Matthews stays in. Matt Wright 10th. Mike Matthews stays in 11th. Sky Shundlemeyer down to 12th. Skunky's 13th with Patrick Ledger. Then Viper, Hoffer, Yo, Friedman, Gary Leach. Although I don't think that's right. I'm not sure. I think I've inputted the wrong points there for Yo. Let me just double check.
Okay, well, qualifying is underway while Matt just works out his problems. Well, not all his problems. We haven't got all night, have we? So just the problems with his input and the results. They qualified. I mean, we're nearly taking up 3 minutes just to get them out of the pits. And get on a hot lap. So that's how time gets sucked up.
This is their first flying lap that they're just coming around to complete. We are on board with Carlos as they come to the line. No, my math is correct. We are good to go on that one. So it is Friedman, Leach, McGowan, Carlos, O'Brien, Coe, Newman, Bates, Ritchie, Collin, Pocket. Constructors 214 points. MSA have now over Team Audio Sport. Team Audio Sport in that one actually got caught by the Greasy Bandits. SimPlay Racing 4th. Old School Races Team FPR, Quantum Motorsport, Team SPR, Scuderia Tempesta, Effect Motorsport, Red Rum. First car that no longer can win the manufacturers. This is more stats for me because I enjoy stats. Audi cannot win the manufacturers championship anymore.
Well, that's because I haven't seen one all season.
DJ Phil and a couple in GT4.
Ah, well, there you go. There you go. There'll be some stern words in the Team Audio Sport office over the weekend. Someone's going to get a spanking, that's for certain, sure.
I can imagine so. I'm not gonna. I will not for 1 second believe that nobody's going to get away scot-free.
Absolutely. Someone's heads are going to roll, Matt. Heads
will roll, I'm sure. Yep. Tips, evening all. Good luck to the drivers. Good evening to Tips. Remember as well, let's get this stream out there a little bit because we are 5 subscribers away from 900. So we are very close to reaching that 1,000 mark. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit the bell to be notified when we go live. 5 away from 900. Get this shared around. Get your friends, family in to watch the stream. Get them to press that big red subscribe button. And let's get to 900. If we can get there tonight, it gives us 6 weeks to try and get another 100 to get to 1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminds me, just say hi to the boys at the Kawasaki Centre, the Cornwall Kawasaki Centre, which are my next door neighbours at Audio Sport Towers. And just say hi to Adam and any of the other Kawasaki boys who are watching in tonight, because they do watch regularly. And if you haven't pressed the subscribe button, press it now. Rob
Smith saying that he thinks Ben needs promoting to lead driver in the Audio Sport team.
This could be, this could happen.
It's a heck of a statement. Promote him over the 10-time champ. Wow.
Well, hey, Vettel was thrown out of Ferrari when he no longer fitted, didn't he? And hey, Carlos Sainz had to boot all Ferrari things I'm talking about. Could be. That's how it could end up. You never know.
Well, here is the number one.
There might be some doors broken on my office when Dad leaves.
Gunther Steiner style. Don't F smash my door.
Oh, yes, you got it. Yeah.
Here we go. Dan Davis stays P9, but moves within half a second. Top 9, half a second. Top 8, 0.2 of a second. Because why not? Absolutely close out there. Viper's coming towards the line now. Let's see what he can do. He goes within 0.4. So top 10 are separated by half a second. This is mightily impressive. Here comes Jamal Clouden, yet to put a lap time in. And puts a lap time in now. Goes within half a second. Top 11 within half a second now. Why not? Overtaker just appeared from nowhere there. Did he cut pit exit on... I'm not sure on that one. That might be worth...
I tell you what, Matt, I would be absolutely stoked to be in half a second of pole. I'd be really upset if that was 11th, though.
You would be, wouldn't you? You'd look at the time, half a second off pole, look at the position, and be like, 11th? Like, God, what have you got to do to find a couple of hundredths or tenths here or there? Here comes Tardock, 0.2 off the pole, goes pole. So it's now half a second between first and third.
Wow.
So he's put in an absolute stonking lap time there. That's meant that it's now half a second between first and third.
Tardock's in a league of his own, isn't he? He's getting better and better every week. I do think he's the champion in weight, to be honest with you.
Champion-elect, It's hard to disagree with that. Hard to disagree with that, excuse me, as we're watching Will Friedman. We've got Gary Leach just behind, who's yet to set a lap time.
Gary's probably struggling to know whether to turn left or right out of pits, although he should. He's got over the difficult race 1, which is usually his practice session.
Yeah, couple of tweaks.
Couple of tweaks, and he'll be on it now.
Well, he's gone ahead of his teammate, 2 seconds off the pole at the moment. We're waiting for Jamal Clouden. We went go-karting with Gary Leach a few years ago, and we took Bozzy Boy, for those who remember who Bozzy Boy is. And you know when you sit in the debrief, you get to what the flag does what and everything?
Yeah.
Watch this little video about what pedal does what. Bozzy Boy put his L's up on his hands, for left and right, see which one makes an L and which one makes a backwards L, just to make sure he understood that his left foot was for what, and, I get a feeling at times when Gary comes out the pits, he does that, left or right. Right, it's this left hand. This is the way we need to go. That's the way Gary seems to be going about it.
I'm sure if Gary was in this party listening, he'd have some choice words for you after you've just compared him to Bozzy. Yeah. Compelled into Bozzy Boy. I don't know what Helmut Marko's got to do with anything, but there we go. But
Here comes Tardock, who doesn't improve that time round. The 302 of Skunky, 8 tenths off the pole at the moment. Can he improve? He does improve, but stays P9, 6 tenths off the pole. The 4-4-3 is next. That is Sylph, who is down in 7th place. And again, you look at that. If you're Mike Matthews, 1 second off the pole, but then look at it and think, I'm half a second off of 3rd. And like we've just said, he's 14th place. Good evening to Ian Thompson in the chat. It's just crazy margins in the Pro this season.
It is. I mean, it's Formula 1 close, isn't it? Formula 1 close. It's... quite unbelievable, isn't it? Everyone has their ways of setting up the car, how they drive the car, so on and so forth. And such is the talent of all these drivers. All the way down the field. There's no one on that list who's rubbish. Or they wouldn't be in this category.
Yeah, 100%. And it just, Dan's just found 3 tenths and gone from, I think it was 9th to 6th place. And still only needs a 10th to be on the front row of the grid. It's just absolutely crazy. Clouden crosses the line, no improvement there. Overtaker's coming towards the line, he finds no improvement there as well. Looking at the next car on a valid lap, that is back down to Mike Matthews in that 14th place, who, if he can find 2 tenths, it's 11th, 4 tenths, it's 9th, half a second, it's 4th, 6 tenths, it's 2nd. So just any improvement for Mike and he will move up the order, because it's such fine margins here. Let's see what he can do as he comes to the line. Finds an improvement, doesn't do anything. So even the finest of margins won't move you.
You know what it's like, Matt. We've all been there. You hit a wall on times, where you just can't seem to find anything more. Well, when it's there.
Let me put it to you, Kelly. The drivers get 10 sets of tyres to use from free practice 1 till the end of race 2.
Yeah.
If you've saved, let's say your strategy is, I'm going to change tyres race 2. So that's 2 sets of tyres. 1 set for race 1. Maybe 2 sets for free practice 1. So what's that? That's 2, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Would you not then go, I'm not going to do free practice 2. I'm going to pit halfway through the qualifying session, take a bit of fuel out of the car, fresh shed of rubber, bang, let's go. We've just seen Dan back in the pits and we've seen Clouden back in the pits. If that's their strategy, fresh bit of rubber, the track is forever gripping up, so the track is forever improving.
Yeah.
Would that not be the case?
Your logic sounds absolutely perfect to me. I personally don't find much of an advantage with a brand new set of tyres. I mean, yes, over a set that's done 20 laps, absolutely, but not. I don't find that much. I mean, I don't wear tyres very hard, although the setups that I've been practicing with are putting a lot more wear on the tyres. So maybe I'm just not trying hard enough. But yes, I mean, you would give yourself every advantage in this session to get that quickest time. Dan is back out there. He's been in the pits. Has he put on some new rubber and decided to go again? What is his strategy? And who knows? There's 18 drivers out there. We've no idea what they're doing and how they're going about it. 9 tenths of a second now between the top 15. And that is only half a second from 2nd to 15th. So it is that close on this grid at the moment. Where's Ben? He's the next car coming to the line, 6 tenths off. He's bailed. So is he going to go for that one final flying lap? Sylph will be next to the line. Let's see what he can do. No improvement from Sylph. And this is what I mean. You're what? We're sat a couple of laps in. If I go on the timetable, look, 6 or 7 laps in, you're not possibly going to find much improvement off of 6 to 7 lap old tyres here. No, absolutely not. And yeah, you know, this is, if you haven't done your quickest time by now, then yeah, you need to be strapping on some new tyres. Or if you've hit that wall and you can't find anything more, then yeah, you know, you've got to drain that tank out and put some new boots on and go for it. But remember, as you said, 10 tyre sets. That's all you've got. Yeah. And that may sound like a lot of tyres, but it's not when you start nailing them on left, right and centre to
especially
try and
if you
find
have
that advantage.
Well, especially if you have a bit of a dodgy practice session as Overtaker moves up to second place. You have a bit of a poor practice session where you've had a few spins, you know, scrubbed a few sets. That's on a couple of tyre sets gone.
Yes. Yeah, this is it. And it's as simple as that, you know, that 10 sets of tyres isn't a lot, and that's, you know, this is the reason that we introduced the rule of 10 tyres, to make it slightly more exciting, to make the drivers think a little bit more instead of just nailing on sets of tyres one after another. They have to think about tyre strategy and conserving the tyres.
I think going into next season, it's something I'm wanting to bring up. I think we could possibly go down to 8. And you know, and make it really interesting on the tyres, you know. And if drivers don't want to go out in practice to save a set of tyres or two, that's their choice, but then will they be fully prepared going into qualifying? You know, it could just really mix up the bag a little bit. I think 10 tyres is good, but I think 8 really, you know, I don't think anybody's using 8 sets, so it would really make you think about the sets of tyres you're using. Gary's just had a moment. In fact, no, he's not. So it looks like he's backing off from Tardock. Gary's backing off from Tardock to give himself space. That's really cute from Gary Leach. It's just Tardock comes to the line, doesn't improve. Don't really think Tardock needs to improve. He could just probably pit right now.
Yeah, he probably could. So yeah, just to pick up on that, in the chat there, any of you guys, I know Rob there's a few races in there this evening. What do you think? Would you go to 8 tyres? Do you think it's feasible, or do you think Matt's crazy? Well, I think Matt's crazy, but on many different reasons. But in the chat there, what do you think? 8 tyres?
Rob Smith just said make it 6, 1 for practice, 1 for quali, and 2 sets each for the race.
I've got no problems with it, because as I said, I'm not hard on tyres, so I'm quite happy to less tyres is fine. In fact, it probably gives me a little bit of an edge over some of the other drivers. Well,
let's be brutally honest. You're not using a set of tyres. You're only using 1 set in race 1.
Yeah.
So it all depends then on what you do in practice and how many sets you use in practice. As drivers are improving, but just very small margins at the moment to improve up and down the order. Overtaker's done, Sylph's done. We're currently on board with Carlos, who's P7, literally 600ths of a second. He'll go from 7th to 5th. That's how fine it is for Carlos at the moment. Couple of drivers still out there on lap, but yeah, I'm up for even making it 6 then, if that's the case. I think 8. I think 8 for practice. You know, give yourself a couple of sets for practice, especially those who may want to run out in practice too. You know, with tweaks they may have made. Yeah, that's where I think I'm at with that.
Well, as I said, Rob's put his opinion in, which is a good one. Let's hear from the rest of you guys. How many sets of tyres? How many do you need?
Well, the drivers at the end have just all invalidated their laps. So qualifying has come to an abrupt end, and it is Tardock who takes that pole position. For me, bit of a surprise on that front row of the grid. Overtaker, because he didn't look massively strong in the first race, but he's on the front row in second place. Heck of a qualifying from Overtaker there. Just going through the order at the minute to input my data on the spreadsheets for pole positions. Gary Leach down in 18th at 2 seconds off the pace. Not the lap for him.
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately, he may fall backwards, but he might have some luck with some incidents in front of him. But once again, the top 4, Overtaker with a cracking lap there, because he didn't look like he had the ultimate pace in the last race, but putting an absolute cracker. But a top 4 of all Fords again, all Mustangs at the top. And lo and behold, who's the surprise? Best of the rest, that'd be Kieran O'Reilly in that Honda, making that Honda absolutely sing this season. And of course, there and thereabouts, don't ever write him off, Dan Davis is in the Porsche in 6th place. And then of course another Mustang with Carlos in 7th place, Will Freeman with the Porsche, and all the stuff that we kind of believe to go quickly, like the Ferraris. The fastest Ferrari will be Skunky in 10th place, Mike Matthews in 11th. He'll be disappointed with that, and McGowan. So a threesome of Ferraris there in the mid pack, and Gary Leach and Darren Yeo with absolute loads of work to do, and Clouden for that matter. He won't be happy with that, down in 15th.
Well, so I've got the timetable up for the viewers to see at home here. It's got the fastest lap times in the sectors. Tordock to Overtaker, 0.3 of a second. Overtaker to Jamal Clouden, 0.6 of a second.
Yeah.
So from second to 15th, 0.6 of a second. Harris then was 0.2 off the back of Clouden. Yo was then 3 tenths off the back of Yo for Harris. Gary then was half a second off the back of Yo. So from Overtaker to Clouden, 0.6. 0.6, very fine margins. But hey, it's Tordock who's put it on pole. That gives Ford Mustang its 5th pole position of the season, and its 5th pole position of all time. It now goes ahead of the famous Renault GT3 car from back in the day, which had 4 pole positions.
Who put those poles? Because that wasn't me. That was probably Gary, actually.
Yourself, Gary, Nicky, Little Lich.
Right. Yeah, only one for me, I think. Because I don't think I've ever done. I've only ever had one pole, and I can't remember where that was either. But,
I can't tell you who's done them, but yeah, 4 poles for that. Ford's now on to 5. It's 2 behind the Chevrolet, with Ford winning in the first race as well. That put Ford ahead of Lexus and Chevrolet on 12 wins for it, and Ford's podiums in the first race put it on to 34 podiums, 2 behind the Lexus. And I'm not
Lexus
taking.
Is mostly down.
Yes, pretty much. I'm not going to take anything away from Tordock, Overtaker, Hill, Fupert, Carlos, whoever drives his Ford Mustang. But in Pro this year, Porsche's had 4 podiums. McLaren 1, Lamborghini 1, Ferrari 1, Honda 2, Aston Martin 1, Nissan 1, Ford 22. Now, if you want to break that down into race wins, Porsche 1, Nissan 1, Ford 9.
Yeah. It's beginning to, if you analyse the data, you could work out, if you're clever, what the quickest car is this season.
Yeah.
With a bit of maths.
I mean, don't get me wrong, drivers got to play a big part in that, and Tordock seems to be an exceptional driver, and from what we've heard and read, Ferrari is their preferred car of choice. So
all the MSA boys seem to be, they all seem to be quick. None of them seems to be, unless there's somebody I don't know about who's lurking in Pro-Am or whatever. But they all seem to be very quick. They've certainly, brought it to SimPlay this season, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. Rob Smith asking for the pole time of last night. That would have been Stephen Millington with a 1:41.382. So if we take the Pro-Am pole position, it's not, but a 1:41.382 would have put you just off the back of Clouden by half a tenth. So he would have also been within the second margin, just within that 1 second margin of the leader in 16th place, which just goes to show, how quick this Pro Grid is. But also, hats off to Millington for setting that pole time.
Yeah. We're almost ready to go green, so we won't get into it now. But it would have been interesting to look through the Pro-Am times and see what the gaps were there. I bet the gaps were bigger.
Little bit, yeah. I've still got it in front of me. I can reload it back up just as we come into the final corner. We know we've got to the bridge, so from top 15 was separated by a second. Top 15 in Pro-Am was 1.3. It was actually the top 9 separated by a second. Just over a second was the top 11. But from first to second was half a second. So, similar sort of story. Either way, we're about to get ready here for round 12 and the halfway stage of the season. As it is green and go, Overtaker gets that initial better getaway than Tordock, pulling ahead of the other Ford Mustang. He comes across a little bit, does Overtaker, but Tordock's still there with a nose. Tordock's now going to come back under the braking zone to go up the inside of Tordock. There's Dan and O'Reilly. O'Reilly trying to fight the 2 Ford Mustangs behind as Overtaker and Tordock still side by side. Tordock slips back into the lead now, still fighting on with Hupert as they come up through to turn 4. Dan's been tapped by Carlos, and Dan's tapped by Carlos. Dan's now been collected by Mike Matthews, and it has all gone pear-shaped for the 2 defending Constructors champions. They're both around, as Darren Yeo had a horrendous start, but may pick up a handful of places here, and Dan and Mike already with damage to the car.
I may be biased on this one, but I thought that was a little bit naughty by Carlos, to be fair. I was just with Will Freeman, who was just behind Dan, and Carlos came from absolutely nowhere. But hey, that's not for me to decide. I just got to see it. I just say it like I see it. Yeah, not good. Not a good start.
Not a good start at all. Sylph and Overtaker have been banging doors a little bit, and that's allowed Hoopert to get a poor run, and has capitalised for O'Reilly, who's got ahead of Hoopert. You get a feeling that Ford Mustang's just going to outpower. Mike Matthews has returned to the pit lane, so damage must be superior for Mike Matthews there, and that is unfortunate there. So hopefully he'll obviously have to come back out the pits, but that's going to be interesting there as O'Reilly does lose back out to Hoopert. Like you say though, Kelly, that's more than likely going to be a ticket straight in. Even I saw that from the helicopter shot, and I don't think it is biased, Kelly. I think it was the Ford Mustang of Carlos at fault. Gary Leach has had an amazing start, last to 9th, and he's got Cloudon right on his rear.
Yeah, we said it, a couple of little tweaks and Gary's back in there, 2 seconds off the pace in qualifying, but right in the mix as they're going for it for third back. It's Overtaker, O'Reilly and Hooper who are all going for it in trading positions. O'Reilly's still staying in the mix there, still keeping these couple of these guys honest, although he can't find a way past. But the other two, the MSA, the official MSA boys, are away.
Yeah, they're up the road and gone. Viper in the pits, Dan Davis in the pits. Hoopert had a bit of a lag moment there, and in fact, where has Hoopert gone? We've lost Hoopert. Hoopert has lagged out from the lobby, so hopefully Hoopert can get back in and get this race back underway, but he's had a lag moment and he's gone. I was on board him, and I wondered why my camera jumped back down to Cloudon. So O'Reilly now mixing it with them Fords once again, as we said that him and Dan have done all season. I'm sure O'Reilly will take a 4th place in this race, but he's going to want to try and pressure Overtaker. Will Freeman putting pressure on Matt Wright at the moment, and then Gary being that truly chain. He did it in race 1. He's got 57 minutes to hang on here and try and do it as they come through. Dan Davis is out the pit, so his damage is repaired and out the pits. He's not got a lap down. He'll be thankful for that. But then you've got Viper and Mike Matthews, who have still got to come back out onto the circuit here. And just not what you would have wanted at the start of this race if you're them 3.
That'd be another night for Dan to forget, isn't it? One of his own mistakes, an unusual one. We didn't ready up for race 1, and then to be taken out in the first couple of corners is, as I said, if he sticks a tick, I'm on board with Harris, and he went very wide out the last corner, all over the back of Cloudon, who's very close to Gary as well. Gary really holding some of these guys up now, holding the last of the pack almost.
This could allow Darren Yeo to catch back up to the pack. I'm not sure what happened to him at the start, starting from by the back. He just had a poor start, did Darren Yeo. Viper's back out. Mike Matthews not yet back out on track. Viper could do without the retirement, because that would be his 3rd and a 25-point deduction.
Mike said in the pits he had a 3-minute 30 wait.
So he's going to be a while, I think. I think we're going to be expecting Mike to be coming out soon as Cloudon goes wide and onto the dirt just a little bit. That could make Harris and McGowan a little more interested as they come through. Ben as well, that Aston. I thought the Aston was going to look better, but the Aston seems to have struggled here in the race. Oh, Cloudon's off. Sorry, Kenny, Cloudon's off. Yep. He's cut the S's. There goes Harris. There goes McGowan. There goes Cloudon. There goes Ben. And there goes Skunky. They're all through, and Cloudon makes his own mistake again.
Yeah, he just, I don't know if he just had a bit of a jink and, like you steer into it and then all of a sudden you go onto the grass. I was on board with Ben, still am on board with Ben, and I just saw Cloudon's car going spearing off to the right-hand side and across the grass. So that's dropped him back. As I said, I'm on board with Ben, who is very close to the back of McGowan, who's very close to the back of Harris. Gary Leach, the cork in the bottle here for this kind of mid-pack backwards.
Well, he's just kind of got that gap ahead of Harris now, that there's a Cloudon-shaped McLaren hole which needs filling by that BMW. But at the moment, like you say, it's a tricky race to get going. Mike is back out on the circuit, 2 laps down, sadly, and a lap down on Dan Davis and Viper. So He's got work to do in this race. Darigno is gaining on these on the pack, but he's Clouden in a spot of bother because he's not really caught up to the back of this train that are all having a bit of a squabble. You know, Ben's slow because McGowan's slow, because Harris is slow, because Gary's possibly slow as McGowan looks up the inside of Harris, and Clouden's not really made him inroads, and you look at the back of Skunky's car, heavily damaged, and Clouden just can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's Harris now starting to look in his mirror a little bit at McGowan more than catching up that gap to Gary. I think that's probably the case. You've got Ben very close behind, and Skunky now has joined the party. As you say, Clouden just not being able to that frustrating gap that you just see in front of you and think, I can just make it back up, I'd be in this fight. It's only a 3/10 or something, but he's just not pulling up to the back of these.
Just isn't pulling up to the back of them at all. It's 3/10 like you said in that sector, but that has to be because these guys are holding each other up. Harris has got back onto the rear of Ben. Friedman's dropped Matt Wright in that Nissan. Bold choice for Matt Wright to take the Nissan. We say about O'Reilly and Dan taking the Porsche and the Honda, but the Nissan, a bold choice from him. Overtaker's just got that gap extended over a second to O'Reilly now, so we don't need to keep our eyes on that one too much. We can stay with this fight of, I'd say, Harris backwards at the moment, because Harris isn't really close enough to Gary to put any pressure on him.
Yeah, absolutely, and maintaining that gap is Gary as they close up a little bit as they come into the last corner, but I'm going on board with Harris. Yeah, Gary Leach just starting to pull away a bit and has just got that gap under control at the moment, and Gary can see Matt Wright in front of him. Nobody's huge send it there. Sorry, I think McGowan was defending from Ben, and he's actually managed to, in defence, late break on Harris, go up the inside as contact made. McGowan on Harris. Harris manages to, well held to be fair there from Harris. He's lost 2 places, but he's not going to have lost a load of time like he possibly would have. Very well held.
But what was a defensive manoeuvre from McGowan turned into an offensive manoeuvre on Harris. They've made a bit of coming together, but now Clouden and Skunky back with them. Harris just got to get that tyres cooled down and back onto the rear, and this could be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. This is really allowing Gary to just break away at the moment and do what he needs to do. We've got Will Friedman on the back of Carlos. That's 0.8 of a second. We'll keep our eyes on that, but for sure at the moment, ebbing and flowing in this mid-pack, because McGowan will catch Harris, Ben will catch McGowan, Skunky will catch Ben, and then they'll all sort of drop off each other.
Yes, I mean, that was brilliantly held by Harris, where I was on board with Ben, and when we went past, he was properly 90 degrees sideways on the grass, so to have dragged that back and not has lost as much time, fair play. Do you know what I mean? I tip my hat to him for that one. That was a great save.
Well, Darigno's 5.6 behind. Let's keep our eyes on that time. She's running currently in clear air. Can he get ahead of these boys in front? McGowan just dropping onto the grass a little bit, but look, he's just gapped Ben slightly. Clouden again. These cars in front have got damage. Clouden's car looks pretty clean, but he can't do anything.
No, Skunky is very close to the back of Ben, but as you say, I mean, they were close half a lap ago. Clouden was right on the back of this, and he's just that ultimate pace he's just lacking for. When I stuck on board with him in the last race, you could see that he was struggling. You know, that when you're braking and turning at the same time, the car gets very loose and starts four-wheel sliding across the corners. That's the kind of effect he was having. That Ben on the grass saves it, brings it back. You know what I mean, Matt, where you turn in and the whole 4 tyres, the whole car moves, and he's just looking like that in race 1. So I don't know if he's ironed any of those problems out, but it's not looking like it.
Well, let's see what's going to happen then in this second race. We'll jump to Will Friedman and Carlos at the moment, because they are pretty close together, bumper to bumper, coming up towards Le Coupe once again. And Will Friedman, best of the Porsches in race 1, best of the Porsches in race 2 for the time being. Still a long way to go in this race, 50 minutes. Anything can happen in this race. Dan is effectively still on the lead lap here.
Yeah, but he's a long way back, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Tardock, where is Tardock on track? Tardock is now coming to cross the line, and Dan is...
Turn 4.
where's that, turn 3 or 4 or whatever it is. So yeah, he's a long way back, and the problem is, you know, he's got every right to put a ticket in, and right or wrong, at least not what I'm getting at here at the moment, but the problem is, once you've had an incident, you know, his night's ruined. Do you know what I mean? You know, and all the penalties in the world won't bring that race back, you know. So this is the problem, really, you know, and I mean, I've been very vocal about it over the years, about driving standards and, you know, races being wrecked and championships being wrecked, but, you know, this is the game we play, I'm afraid.
This is the game we play, but this is why tickets are raised more for that penalty point side of things than the time penalty. Yes, your night is ruined, but, you know, I'll use the example. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and if they don't report it in week 1, where the guy could have got 1 or 2 penalty points, let's say, and then 3 weeks later he does the same incident, well, then that would have put him on 3 or 4 penalty points, close to a qualifying ban, but all of a sudden it's his first warning, and it's only his first warning because it's not been reported. And this is where the ticket system comes into place, that these drivers who are repeat offenders, especially because, you know, repeat offenders now, if they do it once and they do it again, the time penalty is then bigger. You know, so if it's, as long as it's reported, the time penalties become bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, Ben's got past Ian McGowan on the timing screen. Jamal Clouden has got past Skunky behind, and Darren Yo's actually lost time to all these while fighting.
Yeah, just going back to what we were saying, yes, I would like to see incidents reviewed by the stewards, like we used to. Incidents were just written down and reviewed if the stewards felt, oh, and Ben's gone very deep over the cheetah. The cheetah has got another victim, and it's Ben. He goes back behind McGowan. He saves it, doesn't go in the wall, but the cheetah gets another victim, and that being Ben. So McGowan back in front, Ben with all the work to do.
Yeah, and now Clouden's got a run on Ben. Sorry, Kelly, coming down to 2-1. Ben tries to cover him. They just touch a little bit. I think Ben didn't realise how close Clouden was to him. Up the inside goes Jamal Clouden now. Move done, Clouden through.
I wonder if Ben seems to be a reasonably fair kind of driver. I wonder if he then kind of jigs back over to the right and let Clouden go. I don't know if he knew he was there or not. He's certainly trying to come back at him now. And has Ben really got a little bit more pace than Clouden anyway? That's what we were saying earlier. But Clouden's no slouch. He knows what he's doing.
You've just got to worry about them tyres of Ben's. Maybe having a slide across the tarmac, just scrubbed a little bit of rubber off the top surface, and they're just probably going to have to come back to him a little bit. Back to Carlos and Freeman. They're pretty close. No moves happening there, though, so we can drop that down to Ben and Clouden.
Yes, indeed. And just going back to the incident thing, because Chris R is saying about it in the chat as well, and just going back to the incident thing, I'd like to see the stewards pick up on incidents, but I know that the stewards have an awful lot on their plate as it is. And remembering, everyone, this is a voluntary thing. Nobody gets paid. Nobody's, everyone's time is voluntary, and it's just too much work for the stewards to sift through all the races, and I get that. I get that totally.
It was tried, wasn't it? And it used to be on Project Car 2 that what was taken from the stream, or what was caught by the commentators, would be noted and placed into the steward's room. The problem is, like you've just said, there isn't the time for it, there isn't the steward's power for it. And
you and me have both sat on the stewards. I don't know if you are at the moment, but
still am.
I mean, I've been on the stewards panel as well, and I say we've all got lives, we've all got things going on, and just the amount of work is huge. And it's not just reviewing these; it's then coming to a decision with the other stewards about what's right and what's wrong. So 100%. It's a lot of work to it. And I mean, hey, if anybody wants to volunteer and step up, you're more than welcome. We could do with the help on lots of levels, so that's the way I'd like to see it done again. But
indeed we could, and I just want to sort of comment back to Chris there, as Freeman has got past Carlos by some 3 seconds now, so I wonder if Carlos has been off at some point. Ben, though, still trying to catch the back of Clouden. Harris still on the back of Skunky here. That Ben says he won't report if he is ahead of that person that caused the incident. Now, as much as I understand that, if you know, at the end of the day, there is no harm in raising a ticket, regardless of if you finish in front or behind. There's no harm in raising a ticket. If that ticket is no further action that the stewards deem it, then it's been redeemed as a no further action. The steward, you've at least asked for it to be looked at. if it is still a penalty and you finished ahead of that guy, then that guy, you know, that is deemed to be fined at fault, is then sort of been noted once, you know, don't do it again sort of thing. The next time you do it, it is a bigger penalty. So I'm of the opinion, and I've said this to multiple drivers, Clouden last season especially, get a ticketing, because you've also got the other hand, Kelly, as Carlos is in the pits. Now that's before the pit window. Now that's for damage, possibly, I assume. But that brings Dan back into place for at least another position. Dan's coming up towards Le Coupe. That'll pull him closer to Carlos at least. So Dan possibly in for another position. The one thing I will say is the most irritating thing is when drivers complain, moan, nag, whinge in the Discord, in private messages, but don't report anything. If nothing's reported, we can't deal with it.
Absolutely, and you know, I mean, I'm reasonably passionate on this subject. I've had many races through ACC and Project Cars ruined by poor driving, and you know, again, we need to raise these tickets purely, as you say, to teach the other drivers where the limit is. Do you know what I mean? You know, and again, don't get me wrong. I have the utmost respect for everyone I race against. You know, and we're all in it together. We all make mistakes. We all have stupid moments, but you need to know what the limits are, where the boundaries are, and you know, by putting tickets in, we can find out where the boundaries are. The bit that kind of annoys me and frustrates me is that when you know, the arguing in Discord on this, you know, on YouTube, even on the ticket itself, you know, there's I mean, again, we're all passionate. We're, you know, if you're not competitive, you don't do this kind of thing, you know. But it's the petty arguing that annoys me, you know. So there's no need of it.
And this is where the stewards have such a tricky job, as Kelly said. We're watching Gary Leach at the moment. He's got McGowan on the back of him. I'm just going to jump forward to Overtaker because O'Reilly's just been chipping away at his times. He's got within half a second of it.
O'Reilly's still keeping him honest, isn't he?
And also, I'd like to point out, Viper and Dan have both passed Carlos, so whatever he's got in the pit lane, he is there for a while.
Do you think Dan waved at Carlos as he went past?
With one finger.
Yeah, probably,
You know.
David Coulthard card, Manny Cause to Michael Schumacher.
Well, I'll take you back to the Daytona 24-hour this year. There was a Corvette driver fighting with two BMW drivers, and on the oval banking as you come over the start line, just before pit entry, the BMW driver pulled into the pits. The Corvette driver stuck his hand out the window. There was two fingers on that occasion, and that was this year, so it was brilliant. Carlos, though, is going to lose out to Mike Matthews now.
I was just going to say Plato and Neil. I think that turned into a one-finger salute, turned into almost a fight at Rockingham.
And on that day, I'd just like to point out that Matt Neal was so solid because he didn't have his helmet on, and Jason Plato still flinched.
I thought the pair of them wanted their heads banged together, to be honest with you.
It's one of them where, do you know if you're like Tom Ingram at the time would have been one of the young drivers on the grid, and you look at that thinking, God, these two are legends of this sport.
What a parent.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I think it was. I think it all went a little bit too far, and you know, I have. We joke about Plato and Neil. Oh, that was who am I on board with? McGowan nearly ended up in the boot lid of Gary Leach on the last corner there. Well saved. He's right close to Gary Leach at the moment, and looking to overtake him into turn one. But that Lexus has got power. It just pulls away on the straight. That incident at Rockingham, I think, went a little bit too far. But hey, go back and watch some Super Touring car, some Super Tourers, and then you'll see Argy Bargy.
Do you not though, Kelly, kind of miss it? Because we go
good old-fashioned rivalry,
not just the good old-fashioned rivalry, because I still think we have them good old-fashioned rivalries, you know, especially in the touring cars with Sutton, Tom Ingram and Jake Kill, especially at the moment, as Gary Leach goes a little wide, recovers, McGowan's going to look up the inside, can't do it there though. But what I mean is, do you miss the sort of, you know, how many times did we hear about Plato as Clouden now goes wide onto the gravel, and Ben, thank you mama for the carrots, that's an easy move for Ben to make. You know, we have Plato on Neil on Plato, Muller getting involved where words was said, things was done in the paddock. You know, we don't kind of, everybody's too happy, smiley, go nicey at the moment. You kind of miss that little, you know, that little edge.
Sorry, McGowan having a go at Gary Leach in the hairpin and going to try and do it down the hill. I would have said the Lexus have got the power, and it certainly has. I'm going on board with Ben to have a watching brief over this one. Yes, I do. Everyone's too pally-pally. They're too much. They're too many friends.
Yeah.
There's too many. We need a bit of rivalry.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that's what, you know, I mean, racing's brilliant. You go back to 2021 between Mercedes and Red Bull in F1.
Yeah,
that was a brutal year. There was hatred between the two teams, you know, and I think it's fantastic. I think it adds a bit more to the racing. You know, instead of cars going out and dominating, when you've got that bit of drama or backstage, you know, it's brilliant. Jacob Bleckinsoff in the chat. The rivalry is a bit soft in BTCC. 100%. You know, bar Sutton punting people off the road, bar Hill being Hill, you know.
Being Hill.
What's
wrong with Hill?
Tom Ingram's too nice. On track, you've still got that, you know, Sutton clipping a few people. Oh, McGowan and Gary. Yeah, and I think that's all Gary Leach, who's gone wide. McGowan's tapped his rear, and round they've gone. Ben and now Clouden have capitalised. And Clouden's got 3 positions there. Gary, McGowan and Ben Rook.
Hey, the sun shines on a dog's arse some days. Clouden right in there. Got, 4 positions, didn't he?
3.
He went from 3 positions, Ben Rook, McGowan and Gary Leach, who lost it there. Ben did very well. I was on board with him, and he did very well not to smash into the side of Gary Leach. That would have been a massive accident. But now it's Clouden who's is leading this group, and he's struggling on the struggling to keep this car in a straight line. So I think Ben's going to end up hunting him down. These all guys, this is all a fight for the last of the top 10 positions. 9th, 8th, 7th. So they're going well.
They are going well. Poor Matt Wright in that this, and you keep seeing pop up on the screen. He's kind of in no man's land. 10 seconds to Will Freeman, and these lot are squabbling that much behind him that they're not really gaining on him at all. As Darren Yeo got ahead of Gary Leach, and that damage to Gary Leach could maybe help Dan Davis, but there's about half a lap between the two of them. Carlos still in the pits. That could be a retirement because that's a very long pit stop.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the closest battle on track now is Ben and Clouden. Ben reeling Clouden back in again. And McGowan just dropped off the back of this a little bit. I wonder if he's got a bit of damage from his incident with Gary Leach. I think that's probably the closest battle on track right at the moment. The Clouden and Ben fight is the closest fight here. Gary Leach dropped to 1.9 behind Darren Yeo, so he could be struggling. He could have some big damage here. O'Reilly keeps going to half a second of overtake and then dropping half a second back. So whether that's the different parts of the circuit where O'Reilly and Overtaker's cars are doing different things, because you imagine O'Reilly's going to be better through the middle. Mike Matthews yellow flag towards the final corner, so I assume he's possibly clipped the cheater there. It's probably claimed another victim. And this is another reason, by the way, can we say, chat? Mike, Dan and Viper was all in the pits at the end of lap 1. Hoopert's disconnected due to internet problems. Carlos has pitted and remained in there. They've gained 2 places because they've carried on going, and this is why retirement. This is why qualifying bans come in for retirements. We encourage every driver to finish, and this is why. You know, Mike's gained 2 places. One unfortunate because of Hoopert's internet, but the other one is because Carlos hasn't came back out, and with Mike carrying on, he's gained that place. It's another one of our pet hates here at SimPlay, isn't it? You know, it's retirements, because at the end of the day, we want to put on a show, so we want all those cars, many cars on track as we can possibly have all the time. So retirements isn't great for the show. Now, again, I've probably only retired twice. I've probably only ever had proper little tantrums that I've retired twice in my SimPlay career, because I want to keep putting on the show, and that's something. And it's very easy to get frustrated. Your car's damaged, or you've had an incident, or someone's punted you off, and you're frustrated. It's very easy to quit, but you don't see it in real motorsport. So you have to keep going, and you have to, you're here to put on a show like the rest of us. We're all entertainers in one way or another, so it's something we certainly frown upon, and we always encourage people to keep going. And as Matt said, there's points to be picked up. It's not over until it's over.
Yeah.
And that is very true, you know. As Clouden going very wide, and Ben having an opportunity up into the hairpin at the top of the hill, can't quite capitalise on it, but it's brought him in closer to Clouden as they drop down the hill again for the 14th time.
Yeah, for the 14th time. Now, seeing as there is a bit of a lull in the race at the moment, we was asked by our Pro-Am commentator last night, Alexa Marshall, to rate the liveries on the grid. Will Friedman's the first man into the pit lane. Could be a good strategy, that, with O'Reilly gaining on Overtaker in places. So, we're both able to have a look through. I've whittled mine down to 3 at the moment, and I'm undecided on the 3. But Kelly, I want your thoughts on a favourite livery. Now, let's not point out, this doesn't have to necessarily be the team livery, because it can look different. As Lexi pointed out last night, she went for Hibbs's Greasy Bandits car over Hypertex because the style of the McLaren and the livery of the McLaren looked better than the Aston Martin. So this isn't necessarily a team livery in terms of SimPlay Racing or Greasy Bandits or MSA or Audio Sport. This is driver's livery, I reckon.
Right, so, and what was the conversation that we had earlier, we all had earlier with a group of people in practice about exactly what I'm going to say about this?
Well, I said on comms to Lexi last night in the chat, I said Kelly will pick an Audio Sport car.
Absolutely. Funnily enough, they're my company colours.
But the question is, which one? Porsche,
absolutely. Ben's colour scheme is right, but exactly what you were saying, I don't think it looks half as good on the Aston Martin as it does on the Porsche. I think the Porsche just flows with that livery much better than Ben's Aston Martin. I'm not a big fan of the Aston Martin shape, to be honest. So yeah, I don't think it flows so well. I do like the MSA Racing livery.
Yeah.
I think it suits the Mustang. Other than that, you keep talking for a minute and I'll flick through a few and see
So my 3 that I've whittled it down to is I like Overtakers. I kind of like the matte black with the green and blue. I think it's nice. I think it kind of goes together. We're just watching Overtaker trying to lap Gary Leach, who's just come out of pits. One of my other favourites is... Oh, we've lost Carlos completely, so he has gone. Harris. It just gives me JPS Lotus vibes. And I like that. I think the black and gold, I think it's very nice. But then the other one that I'm going to give an outside shout to, I don't think it's my top 2, is Matt Wright's Nissan. I kind of like the different colours on it. It's not your traditional colours, and I quite like it.
Yeah, I think I've got to tend to agree with you on the...
oh, sorry, Kelly. Overtaker's just tapped Gary Leach coming through the corners. Overtaker's all out of shape now, and O'Reilly's has lapped Gary Leach pretty comfortably, and now he's got side by side with Overtaker coming up towards the coupe, and that looked a little bit like Overtaker being too forceful on a lapped car. Whether Gary should have moved out the way or not quicker will remain to be seen. I assume a ticket will go in on that, but Overtaker definitely tapped Gary there.
Yeah, and as you say, now O'Reilly's got an opportunity, although again the Mustang power just pulls Overtaker out of trouble as they go down the hill, and that's what this Mustang has got, hasn't it? It's just got that power advantage. So a little bit of... as Overtaker goes a little bit deep on after the after the cheetah, but no harm done. But O'Reilly right on the back of Overtaker as they come round the last corner, but the Mustang's just going to get its legs now and just start to inch away bit by bit, enough to just keep O'Reilly out of the braking zone, and Overtaker lives for another day.
He does indeed live for another day there. That was an interesting one. That could have gone horribly wrong as Michael Harris enters into the pit lane there. Then so that's going to be an interesting one to see in this race. Back to liveries. I've got to agree with you on it was the Nissan, wasn't it? It's the my favourite Formula 1 car ever is the JPS Lotus. I think it's the Lotus 79 of all the JPS cars is the one that I like the best. I think it's a classic race car, the black and gold. I'm very much a fan of the black and gold. I like that. I like the MSA cars as well, so that's got to be my choices, I suppose. Yeah. There we go then. Lexi, if you're watching, there's our choices. I can't decide between the three. I think I am going to have to go the Harris BMW overall, but yeah, I think they're nice ones. Halfway through the race then at the moment, and it's pretty much an MSA domination out front. It's Tordok from Sylph, both, you know, doing really well at the moment to pull away. O'Reilly's still with Overtaker. Ben's still with Clouden. Bit of dirt kicked up there from the car in front. I think that's a back marker, but yeah, what can O'Reilly do is going to be the question. Gary's got ahead of Skunky in the pits. So Skunky's on the back of Gary now, as I think, he has just come in. I wondered where his car had gone. Into the pit lane comes Overtaker then. Now we keep our eyes on Ben and Jamal. Will any of these two pits coming into this next part of the lap? I'm surprised McGowan hasn't jumped in yet. Maybe got damage repaired and back out.
Yeah, maybe so. And loads of them going to pits. Cloud and Viper, and that was close. That was close. Cloud and having to take avoiding action there. Viper, we were talking about this earlier. About different speeds entering the pits. Not everyone is right on the limit. Not everyone chooses to be right on the limit. Some of us choose a little bit more patience, so we don't get a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, indeed.
So that was nearly an accident there in the pit lane.
Now, sorry, Kelly, just to point something out. Dan Davis has jumped Gary and that of Skunky. That is Mike Matthews returning to track after an off up at Lee Coop, as Dan then just weaving in front of Mike. Not sure why there. The pit in and out 30 seconds for a tyre change will cost you 53 seconds. Dan's 25 clear of Gary.
Yeah.
I think the weave was to sort of, you know, have a play around with Mike Matthews there, but I think if Dan sort of genuinely got his head down and put on the pace that we know Dan is capable of, I think Dan could jump Gary and Skunky. Look, there you go, look, gap to Skunky, 26 seconds, as Dan then crosses the line to open it up a bit more. I genuinely think Dan could possibly jump or be on the rear of Skunky and Gary come when he does his pit stop.
Well, Dan is lapping, the last 4 laps have all been the low 42s. That's where Dan is lap times. And let's have a look at who should we have? Gary as a comparison. And Gary hasn't long been in the pits, so he's getting back up to speed. Last 2 laps, a 43.7 with his last lap, but a 42.5 before that. In the middle of his race, he was again in the 42s, mid 42s, for most of his for some of the big laps. Let's put that in perspective with let's have a look at Tardok. Tardok being that he has had the fastest lap with a 140.5. He's just pitted, coming out of the pits. He's in the 140, the 141s. From lap 12 to about lap 16, there's been a 141.6, 141.2, so on and so forth. So he's going at about a second a lap quicker than certainly than Dan and Gary for sure.
Undercut, we said in race 1 was strong. Will Freeman pitted the minute the window opened. He's jumped Overtaker, and Overtaker has jumped O'Reilly by a huge margin, just showing how good the undercut is around this circuit. Darren Yost now in the pits. Dan Davis comes in, so this will be interesting to see where Dan is in relation to Skunky and Gary. Will this give him the chance of getting a few more points in the bag? That's going to be the question for Dan Davis this time around, as McGowan's just about to past Dan Davis, so then we just wait. Where is Skunky? Final corner now. So yeah, Dan's going to have some work to do in the last 26 minutes, but if he can go down and run at Dan Davis pace that we know Dan Davis can do, this could be an interesting watch.
Absolutely. I just want to go back to some of the comments in the chat. So I want to go back to Tibbs this one. Drivers complaining. No way, that never happens. Just in reference to complaining on Discord. Obviously the sarcasm just comes bleeding through that comment. Yeah, of course they complain. They drip like septic drains about everything. So yes, great comment. And as we go down, Chris R, Audio Sport is the best looking. did. Well, I think Chris, you and me are both biased on this one, as
Yes.
Ben's his boy and Dan's mine. So yeah, absolutely. Rob Smith, in terms of retirement, I still think that it's the worst thing, and it's a disrespect to everyone behind the scenes who puts the whole things together, giving their time and energy. Here to that one. Totally agree with that. Friedman's Porsche is the best livery by far. That again is Rob Smith. Robert Ramsell, the Nissan livery is nice. I think we've covered that one, didn't we, with the black and silver.
Yeah.
And Jacob saying throwback tribute liveries are the one. Yeah, we talked about this as well, didn't we, with the release of Rennsport coming soon, and how at the Ultimate Sim game you'd be able to kind of make your own liveries. That would be absolutely fantastic. Can you imagine that? That'd be great. And your own sponsorship on the car.
Well, if you think about some of the Gran Turismo events that we've done, where you can actually upload the logos onto the game. Now, the livery creator on the game, now Hypertech has done some beautiful liveries for these events that we've done in the past, and they are beautiful liveries. Excuse me. And they're absolutely outstanding. They're absolutely wonderful. But like you say, because you've then got that option of them uploading the SimPlay and the Audio Sport and the Design Manchester logo to Gran Turismo, that gives then that someone like John, who then does all these country, when we've done the Nations Cup and we've done all the countries, and John's made a country livery and just chucked the logos on it, makes it look better. And it would be a league rule, I think, that if you could have. And even if it was the same as Gran Turismo, that you uploaded the liveries to a website, which would then recognise with the game, league rule would be that you must run even if you run them once, you must have at least one Audio Sport, one Design Manchester, and one SimPlay Motorsport logo anywhere on the car.
Yeah, just like everything really. Like, touring cars have all got
Quick Fit.
Quick Fit. Yeah, Quick Fit's the one I was thinking of. They've all got that written on the sun visors or on the number plates, wherever it is. Because that's the rule of how it's done. Are we talking about maybe the future of the big leagues of sim racing? Not that we're not the biggest console-based league in the world. Yeah, it's certainly the best. But are we not talking about maybe the future of sim racing, where actual sponsorship and livery is something that can be customised and is something that becomes part of sim teams? Do you know what I mean?
So let's put it this way, Kelly. MSA Racing, brand new to SimPlay this year. We've not seen them around before. They are clearly a team that may, I don't know how long they've been sim racing, but you don't know who backs that team.
Yeah.
We don't know what events they do elsewhere other than SimPlay Motorsport. So if they're a backed team with certain sponsors, then if they was able to run a livery where it's like, okay, somewhere find room for Design Manchester, Audio Sport and SimPlay Motorsport logo, but they will have possibly their own livery with their own sponsors. Me and Dan's done some PC racing where we've ran a SimPlay Racing livery that has been, big SimPlay Motorsport logo on the side with then some Design Manchester and Audio Sport scattered around the car, because that's what we've run supporting our league and our channel. But for teams like that, old school races, we don't know about them. Greasy Bandits, you just don't know.
Well, absolutely, and as I said, is this where the future is? I've been watching just randomly. I haven't subscribed to it, but on TikTok, there's a series of stuff with Max Verstappen doing his sim racing. Doing some sim racing stuff.
Team Redline,
Team Redline, yeah. So, and he's being coached by some other sim racers there who are telling him which gear to be in and so on and so forth. He's, love him or hate him, he's the current world champion and 4 times world champion, and he's being coached by these other sim racers. Now, I've been watching that, because it's been popping up and there's an interest. Now, that makes sim racing mainstream,
But have you noticed, can I just point out with the Team Redline, now obviously with my job for Racing Unleashed, I have to now travel to a team that Redline compete against in the big esports events called Apex Racing. I go to their studio to do the Racing Unleashed broadcasts. Being around this atmosphere, you start to see and understand a bit more. Team Redline, if you haven't noticed, are now sponsored by Red Bull. Right, there you go, Why? Well, Max Verstappen's connections, obviously. Verstappen, but their livery now has Red Bull on it.
So Red Bull, and Red Bull, if one thing Red Bull are good at, I mean, I don't think they're very good at making drinks, but they're damn good at sponsoring sports. Now you look at all kind of lots of action sports, like BMX and power boating,
X-Series stuff, aeroplanes.
Yeah. There's Red Bull into all of it. Do you know what I mean? There's Red Bull sponsorship, V8 supercars, Formula One. There's Red Bull sponsorship all over a lot of the extreme sports and the niche sports. So they know how to promote and how the rest of it. So they're now promoting Redline Racing. Yes, they've it's part of probably a lot to do with Max Verstappen. But Red Bull as a corporation understand that the public, the young public, are watching this stuff, you know. And as I said, are we looking at the future? I mean, I'm on board with Overtaker at the moment. I'm looking down on this bonnet. You've got the Fanatec is on all the cars, Now we know the relationship of Fanatec to sim racing. Is it time for the little independents to start being able to get their own liveries and their own sponsorship?
I think
it could be the future.
You look at it realistically, Kelly, and again I go back to MSA Racing. We don't know how big a team they are. Are they up there?
Absolutely.
Do they compete in events that Redline and Apex and Williams Esports may compete in? If they do, I'm sure they would possibly have their own little sponsors. Currently watching McGowan going side by side with Darren Yeo in towards the clubhouse bend. Darren Yeo hangs on to that.
Ooh, yep.
So if you are getting then attracting these teams into the league, then you're obviously going to be bringing in their sponsorship, which is going to be on the broadcast and so on and so forth. Like when me and Dan have gone forward to other channels and raced and promoted not only SimPlay Motorsport but Design Manchester and Audio Sport. Martin Van Montfort in the chat. Although the Ford Mustang seems pretty OP, I don't like driving it. That seems to have been a general consensus without a few drivers. Rob Smith, I'd drink Red Bull if they provided me with an identical sim setup to Max's. Now you see, if you're talking energy drink, and we keep getting onto them, but the Rubicon energy drinks, which are pretty new, they are beautiful. Wow. Now I know Kelly likes a Rubicon mango flavoured on the still beverage. Yeah. But I am a big Rubicon energy drink fan. I think they're beautiful and gorgeous. The blueberry and raspberry flavour is my favourite Rubicon. If you are, and we know you are watching, please do get on board.
Yeah. Absolutely, we would love your sponsorship, and if we could change the liveries to put Rubicon on, we would. Funnily enough, I'm not a big fan of energy drinks. I like the Rubicon still. The mango is lovely, beautiful. Absolute. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of energy drinks. Although I have been prone to drinking Red Bull and popping Pro Plus at the same time. Don't do that at home, kids. Just to keep myself awake when I was DJing at the weekends and taking Dan and his sister BMX racing the next day. So just pop a couple of Red Bull and a couple of Pro Plus, and you can stay awake for days. Although you do have a real caffeine come down after about.
I can imagine.
After about 2 days. So,
I can imagine. Me and Dan might be on the energy drinks on Sunday morning, 4 o'clock Grand Prix start.
What for? Watch the rerun.
No, because the problem with the rerun is, something might change on the rerun. You don't know.
Something might change.
You never know.
They might edit it if somebody was injured or something like that. I grant you that. But if that did happen, then you'd view it somewhere else. You'd see it somewhere else. You always. I've
always got up for the Melbourne Grand Prix, and I think, to be fair, baby life, it'll help the missus out. Yeah. Oh, there is a yellow flag, 777. That is Viper off at Crocodile, big time off as well. That is huge, and he's got some big damage on that car, and that could really help Mike Matthews, who has. I think has unlapped himself. Maybe he's coming round to unlap himself. Viper could do without the retirement, because that would be a third retirement to the season. At the moment, D&D keep up the good commentary work for you, including the chit chat. Thank you, Martin. Thank you very much, and hopefully we're pronouncing Martin right. When there's a bit of a lull in the race, we have to do this. We have to talk about it. Obviously, the big news this weekend, as we're watching Ben try and gain on Cloudon, the big news this weekend, Formula 1 returns. Yes. IMSA also returns. We've got, I believe it's the 12 hour of Sebring in IMSA, which is The American WEC, if you will. Viper has returned to the pit lane, or drove into the pit lane. So the American WEC's back, bit of hypercar and GT3 action at Sebring. Brilliant circuit. Bumpy as anything, the old airfield. And another chance to watch the 12-hour Sebring. Brilliant race, brilliant spectacle. It is pretty much their big one. Bar the Daytona 24-hour, it is their big one. So a good chance to see the hypercars back out on track. That'll be at a bit more of a reasonable hour as well.
Yeah, so Matt, very, very quickly, and the people in the chat, because we're starting to come towards the end of this race. But,
yes, and we don't want to miss it like last week.
No, we don't want to miss it like last week from chatting. We have talked about doing a podcast. Do you think that would be a great idea? That wasn't my question, but let's see. We've had practice testing for F1, but nobody knows nothing yet. We haven't had a wheel in anger on track. So now, pick a winner, race 1.
Lando Norris.
I'm with you on that one, Lando Norris. Have you got any other ideas? Do you think that...
sorry, Kelly Clarkman's just had a big wiggle on the exit curb of Cheetah there, manages to keep it all together. I don't think Red Bull are strong. Now, I'll tell you my thoughts after testing. We won't know anything even in these first 3 practices. I think we're not going to see anything properly until a wheel is turned in anger in qualifying.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think teams are still going to be collecting data and learning.
I don't think Williams are as quick as they were both.
I don't think Williams are as quick. I think Williams could be best of the rest. I think Mercedes could jump Red Bull in terms of
Possibly.
George Russell, not Kimi Antonelli.
No.
I think Red Bull are going to struggle this year. I think Ferrari are second best, but I think McLaren are going to dominate this year.
Okay, yeah, I pretty much agree. So these are my opinions, right or wrong. They are only my opinions, so if I upset anyone, well, actually, I don't really care, but because they're only my opinions, right? But I think it's going to be Ferrari versus McLaren, and I think there'll be the little lovely cuddly relationship that the 2 McLaren drivers is going to be tested because they're just as good as each other. I think Charles is going to be better than Lewis, although I think Lewis is going to be there and thereabouts. I think Max is going to have a couple of results, but he's going to struggle in the Red Bull as well as Liam. And I think Mercedes are going to be, apart from the odd blink of success with George, I think they're going to be nowhere. And I think Antonelli is overrated. So that's my opinions. I might be right, I might be wrong, but that's what I'm saying.
Just going to go back to Rob Smith's comment. Weckenham has spent too much time on hypercars, not enough time on GT cars. Couldn't agree more. Now my question to you, Kelly.
Yeah.
Flop of the season. Who is going to flop in F1?
I think the Sauber cars are going to be horrendously bad.
You see, I think they're going to continue on being bad from last year.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is that Audi taking over, they're going to put zero effort into this car whatsoever. With a major rule change, as Ben starts to have a look at Clouden, there's still some action going on track, and Ben has come up to the back of Clouden. They're both catching Matt Wright, and I think Sauber put Audi are going to put absolutely no money in. They've got a major rule change next year, and I think that's where they're going to be. Flop of the season. I think Red Bull are going to have an horrendous season.
I think Kimi Antonelli is going to be the flop of the season.
I tend to agree. I think he's overrated, and the pressure that's been put on his shoulders. Again, I'm happy if he proves me wrong. Quite happy, but I just don't see this brilliance that everyone's going on about.
Didn't see it in F2 last year. I thought there was better drivers in F2, but Mercedes rate him highly. So we'll see what happens. I think Behrman could be rookie of the season. I know that Liam Lawson's technically classed as a rookie, but he has got 11 grand.
Rookie of the season, that would be Alonso. Would you think Aston Martin are going to improve this season, or do you think their Adrian Newey brilliance is just going to kick into next year?
I think we will see some improvements in Alonso.
Yeah.
Stroll will do Stroll things and it'll be nothing. I think we'll see improvements with Alonso. I think we will see small improvements in that car. I think, like Aston, their eggs with Newey are in 2026's basket.
Yeah. I think they're one of the teams that's looking at the future, where McLaren and Ferrari are looking at the here and now. I think this is McLaren's best opportunity for a second constructors and a drivers.
You've got to look at it like this. Both them two teams, I think, are the favourites going into it. I think McLaren have a slight edge over Ferrari. The last time McLaren won a drivers' championship was Lewis.
Yeah.
The last time Ferrari won a drivers' championship was Kimi.
Yeah, and that's a long, long time
That was
ago.
2007 and 2008 for the pair of them. So it's been, pretty much the same amount of time without a drivers' championship.
Absolutely. And I think, although I think Charles is brilliant, I think he's a one-lap specialist, and he's got to work on his racecraft. Do you know what I mean? Looking after the tyres and so on and so forth. And I just think Lewis is. I've never up to being the biggest Lewis fan in the world. He is an exceptional driver, one of the very greatest. But I just it doesn't float my boat. Do you know what I mean? And I just think he's with all the best will in the world and all the respect in the world, I just think he's over the hill slightly, you know.
But do you not think that Lewis can bring that racecraft out of?
I think Lewis has got an air of genius about him.
I don't mean for Lewis. I mean, Charles is by far one of the quickest drivers on the grid. Do you not think Lewis and his expertise, if him and Charles get on, could not make Charles a better race driver?
Oh, absolutely. And Charles needs that. That's something he needs. He's got pay. I mean, he's on a one lap. He's probably the quickest guy on the track.
If you think back to Charles, he had a couple of years with Seb, but Charles was a kid still, and still had that mentality of, I've got to go fast. I've got to go fast. I've got to go fast. And at times it let him down. Then he was teamed with Sainz, very level-headed kind of guy. Now he's got Lewis, who I think Lewis is better than Seb. So I think, with Charles being older, maybe more willing to learn instead of being that kid and wanting to just go fast.
Yeah, and what I've just said about Lewis Hamilton, and I think, to be fair, Lewis is starting to fall into that older driver category.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what I mean by that. When Alonso was winning, he was just a bit of a dick, right? When Vettel was winning, he was just a bit of a dick, right? When Schumacher was winning, he was exactly the same. As they all started to mature and know that their time was limited, they all started to relax and become nicer guys. I mean, Schumacher particularly, he's come back to Mercedes. He was a completely different guy. Yeah, Seb as well. I really like Seb now. When he was winning, I couldn't stick him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But now, is Lewis now falling into category? He's got nothing left to prove, not really. Do you know what I mean? That 8th title, statistically that would make him, the best in the business. But for race wins and points and all the rest of it, he's already beaten Schumacher. He's nearly twice over.
He's got nothing left to prove, has he? Lewis has been there, done it all, and done it with two teams. I'm sure he'd love a win or two in a Ferrari. He's won with a Scuderia, but would it be the be-all and end-all? I think Lewis is there to help Charles, and I fully agree with you. When they're youngsters,
I think he's mellowing.
You've got to kind of look at Max a little bit. Kind of falls into that category at the moment of being the same as when Vettel and Schumacher was younger. Will he mellow out in his older years? Let's wait and see. But that seems to be the case. Cloudon's just gone a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1, though. That's allowing Ben to come back into play, because Cloudon had dropped Ben a little bit and had got onto the back of Matt Wright. This is now sort of falling back into Matt Wright's favour here, because Matt Wright's just gapped Cloudon a little bit more. Cloudon had got rid of Ben and put it just under a second between him and Ben, and now he's made that one mistake. Bang, Ben is right back there to pass. And this is what I like about Ben this season, Kelly, if we get back to the action. Ben has kind of he's had great results. He's been by all the MSA drivers, Ben's been one of the most consistent drivers this season. But when Ben has been in this situation of these fights, bar going wide there and kind of trying to prove what I'm about to say wrong, Ben has always been there to apply that pressure.
Yes, indeed. Let's look at Cloudon there, just getting to the inside a little bit quicker than Harris, and going to have a run with him down to the down the hill here. But yes, I agree totally. I think Ben, and not being biased on my young protege in Team Audio Sport, but he has been consistent. He has been learning. Took his first win this week in GT4. I didn't see it, but it definitely happened. So he's just getting better and better, and he's got a consistency about him, which is very nice, and certainly keeps him in play.
Does indeed. That race win, just to let you know, is under investigation. It was a ticket going against Ben, so at the minute he's race winner. I have nothing to do with the GT4 stewards because I race in it, so Nothing has been spoken, I can say, about that at the moment on any GT4 ticket. So at the minute, he is still race winner.
Yeah.
And we'll see what comes of them tickets. There's a ticket gone in, I think, on John Gooday as well. But I can't remember on which race that was. So if that's his race too, that might take his race win away in Pro-Am. So, still things up in the air. And this is why all results are provisional, and you have to really wait, until them final championship standings come out. When the tables come out, that's when everything is final. I know Dan's done some nice promo images. He did 2 for me at Bathurst, where I got 2 race wins. Then I lost a race win because of a penalty. So tables say it all at the moment. Martin in the chat, question is, what is the range of drivers in this pro field? So as Cowden's actually darted to the inside line on Matt Wright, and he's going to come up the inside at the coupe, but he's missed his brakes. I say he's missed his brakes, he's gone very deep and missed his corner. That's allowed Ben up the inside as well. Ben's flashing the lights at Clouden. Whether that's a distraction or oi mush, you've just pushed him out the way, so you might want to return the play so I can get through. But Clouden did not get the apex of that corner.
Yeah, I was flicking between Ben and Clouden there. I don't know if they did touch, but it looked a lot like it. Clouden had a run up the inside. I don't think he could slow it down in time. Of course, that gave Ben the position. So Clouden, if he wants to give it back, he would lose 2 places. So maybe it's worth running to the end, and one of those. I don't condone it. I think if you have an incident with someone and you know it's your fault, if you give it back to them straight away, that's the best etiquette. But if then another driver ends up between you, it's difficult, isn't it?
I'll be honest, Kelly, that over the years of stewarding now, the stewarding has changed on that. That even if you give the position back, you can still receive a penalty. But it could be a little less than what it would be if you don't return the position. Matt Wright's just gone straight on at turn 4, so let's see what happens there. So the driver range of Pro is, when you join the Discord, you have to do a hot stint. Now, we have a hot stint server. You have to run consecutive laps, 5 minimum consecutive laps, wait for the session to end, and then it will go to an automated bot in the Discord, which will calculate your average pace. It'll tell us your fastest pace, your average pace, and your theoretical pace. Now, I'm not going to say the deadline on stream because we don't tell the drivers the deadline. But if you're under a certain time, you will be in the Pro category. If you're over that time, you'll be in the Pro-Am category, which is a Wednesday night. You have to do your hot stint for GT4 because we require hot stint to be done for any race. That includes coming up to the endurance event that we have going on for cancer research in May. But then this is where you have to this is where we don't tell drivers that lap time, because we don't want drivers to then go, if I sandbag, I could be in Pro-Am. Bearing in mind as well, your time has to reflect the stats page of Assetto Corsa Competizione, which we will then see if you have sandbagged on your stats page. So it reflects both, and that's how we work it out and go into Pro. At the minute, the front end of Pro, Tardock, I think's hot stint was in the 43s, and the mid pack of Pro, or the rear of Pro, is probably a low 45. High 43s from Tardock so it's about a second, 1.5 seconds, I think, is the pace from the front to the back of Pro.
Which question are you asking there? Are you answering there?
Martin. Question, what is
Martin.
the range of... Oh, ages. Sorry,
Yeah,
what is the range of
ages.
ages? Oh, sorry. Read that completely wrong. Ages, don't know. Ben, I think, is our youngest Pro competitor. The oldest, I don't know.
Pro... Oh, yeah, I don't know what Pro is. Possibly Mike. Don't know.
Can't say because of the newer drivers.
Yeah, and we don't know how old Tardock is, for example, or how old McGowan is, or so on and so forth. All I can tell you is what I know, and Ben is, as we said, I think he's 14 or
14, 15. 14, yeah, 15. He did say the other night. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm kind of actively racing, and I'm 50.
Yeah, 50, I think John Andrews, 50. Who was racing earlier in the year, is 60. So
I think I had to think about it. I'm 54 next month.
Yeah.
So, but we did used to have what was the guy who was 70?
JM Grill, if I'm correct.
Yeah, JM Grill. He was 70 years old, and he held his own as well.
He was pretty quick. He was sharp and had a win in a couple of podiums in that Pro-Am category that day. So the age range I can't quite tell you, but you got an explanation on the lap times as well. So there we go. But we do accept all age range because we've had a couple of younger drivers involved as well, as we're watching Darren Young and McGowan at the moment. Yeah, who is the closest fight on track?
I'm watching Ben, who's still close to Clouden, but not close enough. Still following. Yeah, look, we got a couple of answers. Chris saying that Ben is 15, and he would know because he's spawned a young man. And Rob Smith saying that he's 50 in Pro-Am. So yeah, so wide age group. And this is
Ben
this
was
is a great
born
thing.
in 2010. Oh.
Good God, good God. Honestly, I've got T-shirts older than him.
I think I have as well. I think I've got Touring Car Honda Team Dynamics T-shirts older than Ben.
I've definitely got. I think I may have T-shirts that are twice as old as Ben. To be fair, but this is the beauty of sim racing, isn't it? It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate anyway. But age, nationality, all those things doesn't matter. You know, we've had plenty of people from all over the world and all ages. As Tardock is on the last lap, Matt, so we better
He
not
is
miss
indeed.
it.
No, we won't miss
the
this one. I'm
finish.
keeping an eye on the track map while watching Darren Yeo and Ian McGowan having a cracking fight here. Old Sim Racers 61. 16 for the second, 2010. There you go. Ayrton was born the day after Ben. But obviously 15 years later. As McGowan goes round the outside of Darren Yeo at the coupe and goes a little deep, has a bit of a slide. That's allowed Darren Yeo to come back here. Mike is catching that of Viper, but with one to go, seeing 0 lap down. I commentate on a series for work called Racing Unleashed, and last year one of their drivers was 13 and their oldest was 70 odd. As McGowan sends one on Darren Yeo, goes deep, and Darren Yeo is going to get the up and under. So
back again,
again, that just shows the sim racing, as Kelly's just said, the sim racing age variety, even at work, you know, and these are on motion censored rigs and more professional racing than what. Or a more professional series, should I say. McGowan's dropped it. Yeah, in the wall, on his own. I think we'll jump back up to Ben and Clouden for the time because they're so close. That just goes to show that, you know, 1371, such an age range, and they was racing each other in the same category as well, so huge age range. And, you know, what we do at SimPlay Motorsport is any age can join as long as you're good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's never a question, and we don't know most of the ages, but it's beginning to look like Pro-Am is the geriatric class, isn't it? So we'll have to see if we can get sponsored by Zimmer Frame or something like that for Pro-Am.
To the final corner, Kelly. Sorry, to the final corner. Tardock is going to take the race win. Huge race for him tonight. Sylph is some 14 seconds behind, and he's going to come across for that. Second place. He's then got 6 seconds back to Will Friedman, and an impressive drive for Sylph. Will Friedman jumped Overtaker in the pits and didn't really look back, did he? After that, Overtaker just didn't have a response to him. Got close but couldn't do enough. Very good night for Will. O'Reilly will take P5. Big gap back then to this fight between that of Clouden and Ben at the moment. Dan Davis is finished down in 14th. Mike didn't get Viper. That was for 15th and 16th place. Ben looks like it's going to be P7 because they enter the final corner now. And Ben, unless Clouden has a poor run, unless he has a poor run, he's going to hang on in very much indeed. So nearly lost out on P6. Matt Wright, P8. Now, interesting to see what was the gap between Matt Wright and Clouden, because if that ticket goes in 6 seconds, so hey, if Matt Wright was to put a ticket in, let's see what happens here. Michael Harris, bit of a quiet night for Michael Harris. He's always been there or thereabouts this season, but 9th place for him, a 9th and 14th. Darren Yeo manages to get a top 10. We have just lost a driver, not sure who has quit there. So Darren Yeo was 10th, but we're now just going to have to wait to the end because we have just had a driver leave the lobby, and it was ahead of, can't even see who it was actually.
No, I can't. No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Either way, Skunky gets ahead of McGowan at the end, and Gary Leach will cross the line, and that'll tell us then what the final standings will be. I'm sure Gary will be 13th. Yes, he was 13th place for Gary Leach. Skunky then crossed the line for 11th. McGowan crossed the line for that 12th place. Right, me and Kelly will be back in just a few moments' time. We're going to head over into the Discord chat to then go and see if anybody is there for an interview.
green light. Give it all you got.
Nobody in here either.